You might have heard about the Brazilian butt lifts, or the BBLs, which is a type of non-surgical treatment that uses liquid to enhance the size and the shape of your buttocks.
Yeah, so earlier this week, 2 people were arrested after the death of a British woman who recently underwent a non-surgical Brazilian butt lift. And whilst we don't know the details of her death at this stage, questions have been raised once again about the safety of this type of treatment.
In just a moment, we're going to be hearing from Bonnie Louise, who said she was left fearing for her life after getting a BBL.
First joined by 2 people, though, calling for these treatments to be banned. Ashton Collins, who is the director of Save Face, which is a national register for accredited practitioners, and cosmetic physician, Dr. Marna Bauer. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Doctor, let's begin with you. Can you explain what's the difference between a surgical BBL and a liquid BBL?
Absolutely. So the surgical BBL is when, under a hospital setting, a consultant surgeon will take fat from somewhere else on the body, for example, the abdomen or the thighs, and then re-inject that fat into the buttocks to volumize and shape. Whereas when we're looking at the liquid BBL, that's taking a dermal filler, so a hyaluronic acid filler, what we use for the face, the lips, for example, and inject large quantities into the buttocks to, again, create that volumization and contour.
We know a lot of people who do fillers in their faces. What is the difference, and why is it so unsafe to do fillers in the buttocks?
So there's lots of reasons why it's unsafe, and the first one is the anatomy of the buttock region. As we go a little bit deeper, there's lots of veins, blood vessels, and what can happen is the fat or the dermal filler can block those blood vessels, stopping the oxygen to the skin and the muscle. But also the fat or the filler can travel upstream and can go up to the heart, causing heart attacks, the brain strokes, pulmonary embolisms, and death, unfortunately.
And does that not happen if it's surgical?
So there is a risk with the surgical technique as well, and that's why BARPS, which is one of the plastic surgical societies, in 2018 called for it to be banned. They told their members not to do it anymore because there were a lot of deaths occurring.
Across the board?
Across the board. And that's changed in 2022. They're using a new technique, which is ultrasound-guided, so highly specialised consultant surgeons are only recommended to do it now.
Is it like the Wild West out there at the moment? Because it seems like there's no regulations at all.
There's no regulations. It's something that we've been calling for a long time. It really is the Wild West. Anyone right now can pick up a syringe and inject patients, it's ludicrous. And we're seeing so many more problems and complications coming through.
So, Ashton, you've been calling for a ban on BBL since last year.
Yep.
What is it about them that worries you?
It's the volume of complications, like Manav said, how dangerous these procedures are, and they're being advertised on social media as being risk-free, pain-free, cheaper alternatives to the dangerous surgical counterparts. And we've helped over 500 women. 50% of those women have ended up in hospital with sepsis. 39% of those women have needed corrective surgery, have been left unable to walk. Many of them have been told that they're close to death when they arrive at hospitals. And that's why we are warning the government that unless they take urgent action, then we'll have fatalities.
Ashton, why do you think so many women are doing this? Are we just not loving ourselves anymore? What is it?
I think there's this insurmountable pressure to conform to a certain beauty standard. And I think, bigger bums have been in fashion now for a long time, perpetuated by reality TV stars and on social media. And when you see these things advertised as being risk-free, it takes an hour, you'll be in and out, it's cheaper alternatives, you can see why it's an appealing prospect for people. But all of those claims could not be further from the truth, and they are incredibly dangerous.
And there's no aftercare as well. That's a big, I would say that's a big risk as well, isn't it?
The lack of aftercare, and because in all of the cases that we've dealt with, they've been injected by non-healthcare professionals. So even when these ladies are presenting with really high risk, visible signs of sepsis and infection, they're being told it's just bruising, or they're being blocked completely and left to fend for themselves.
Would you like to see a ban of all of them, or liquid-based?
The liquid BBLs, yeah, because like Manav said, with the surgical ones, they are regulated procedures in regulated environments.
There's a risk, but it's regulated.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
and that person will look after you if something went wrong.
So let's bring in Bonnie Louise, who had a terrifying experience after undergoing the Brazilian butt lift treatment. Bonnie Louise Cooper, thanks so much for joining us, Bonnie. So you had this last November, I think, but then things didn't go as planned. So tell us about your story and your experience.
Gosh. So I had my liquid BBL back in November, just gone, and to my horror, I got poorly very, very quickly.
Okay, just before we even go into that, can you just tell us why you actually wanted to have it done? What do you think, what was you lacking and what did you think that you needed from this?
So for me, the gym doesn't appeal to everybody. You might not get the desired results. It was a confidence boost for myself, and to my knowledge, it was a safe option.
But you was happy with the results at first. Was you happy with everything?
Yeah.
And then tell us when it started to go really badly wrong for you.
Gosh, I mean, it was immediate, really. As soon as I got home that same day, the pain was just horrendous. And the next day, I was rushed into hospital and paralysed from the waist down.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and was that sepsis, basically?
I did, yes. They advised me when I got to the hospital that I had sepsis.
So, what was the complications of that? Could you sleep? Could you sit? Could you even walk? Tell us some of the things that you went through.
My gosh, I couldn't stand properly. I couldn't sit. I couldn't walk at all. It was horrendous. I was just paralysed, couldn't move.
Oh, my God, you poor thing. Where did you get this done and how are you now?
So I had this done in the London area. I still have complications now. So if I lay on either side, my legs actually go numb, leading to my feet changing colour due to circulation issues and nerve damage.
Oh, my goodness, that's awful.
And Bonnie Louise, were you given assurances when you went in? I mean, how was it sold to you?
So I was completely under the illusion that it was completely safe, pain-free, minimal downtime. However, to my horror, the pain was horrendous, even having the procedure done.
Yeah. Awful. What would you say to anyone who's thinking about having one of these?
I would strongly urge anybody to completely stay away from the liquid BBL. It's very unregulated, very dangerous.
OK.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you for joining.
Really
I know you
sharing.
still get tingling in your legs now, don't you? You still get issues now, don't you?
Yeah, the pain is definitely ongoing.
Oh, poor thing. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you opening up and telling your side of the story as well. Thank you, Bonnie Louise. Is this... do people have any legal recourse off the back of this?
Do you know what? Often, no. And people have often spent thousands of pounds on corrective treatment, corrective physiotherapy. And because it's not even a legal requirement to have insurance in the UK, often these people have no financial recourse.
Obviously, this isn't going to stop. People are still going to get these BBLs. I mean, what advice have you got for anybody who has any issues after they've had their operation?
Yeah, for anyone that's had any problems or even that's worried, I would definitely get in touch with Ashton at Save Face. I think it's really important.
And is it a one-way ticket? Can you extract this as well, or once it's in, is it in?
It's very difficult, and the way that the product may have been placed, it may just spread, it may be in very hard locations to take out. So it's very difficult to correct once it's in.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
But we are starting with an incredible story, actually, this morning. Imagine being told that the only way you could walk again is to have your leg amputated and then have your foot sewn on backwards.
Yeah, unbelievable piece of surgery, and that's exactly what happened to our next guest when he was just 14 years old. Ibrahim Abdul Rauf started to experience leg pain, which he first thought was a football injury, but doctors later discovered he had a rapidly spreading bone cancer.
He then underwent the unique procedure of having his leg amputated and then his foot reattached to his knee backwards, which not only allowed him to walk again, but also actually saved his life.
And we're delighted to say Ibrahim joins us now to tell us more.
Hi, you all right?
So nice to meet you.
Oh,
Nice
thank
to
you
meet
for
you too.
joining us.
Oh, pleasure.
So lovely to have you. Now, this is such a unique type of surgery. It's unbelievable, actually. But just take us back to the time when it all went wrong. What was happening? I know you were playing football, but what happened?
I was feeling completely fine. It was literally just one evening, like I had a subtle pain. It wasn't really that noticeable. I just thought I got kicked when I was playing football, like during a tackle.
So what sort of pain was it? Just a numb agony, a numb pain?
It was just like a dull ache, like
dull
you know,
ache.
if like when you get punched and you just have like feel that you've you've just been
Sure.
punched.
So why would you think that was any different to like a normal, right? You just carry on.
So it was just like in the motion of
Yeah.
like 1 second, just feeling that pain of getting like punched or like pushed, just that little sensation I had like during the evening, and there wasn't even any like overlapping pain. But when I went to sleep, and then I just woke up the next morning and I tried to put weight through my leg and I couldn't weight bear at all. So it literally from feeling fine and having no pain, it went from like the threshold being 0 to 10 out of 10 agony.
The next morning?
The next morning, yeah.
So you're only 14 when this happened, right?
Yeah.
So what did your mum then do? You got in touch with the hospital or the doctor? Or
I bum shuffled down the stairs because I couldn't walk at all. And even I was dumbfounded. I thought, what's going on? Like, why is my leg not working for? And I was getting like really worried. And I went down, told my mum, and she thought that I'm just making up excuses to try and get the day off from school.
Really? Is that what she thought?
Yeah.
That's what we're mums, aren't we?
That's the reaction,
That's what we
of
think.
course.
And then I said, no, Mum, I'm not lying. Like, I'm being serious. It's like agonising pain to even put any weight through or pressure through my leg. And then she rushed me to the GP. They rushed me to the A&E. And then they done a X-ray and it showed like a swollen bone over my bone. So it was like a little lump.
So there's a swelling on top of the bone?
Yeah, and then they said that it's a cyst or a boil or like just a cluster of fluid. And that they're going to do a biopsy to extract it and it shouldn't be nothing to worry about. So
Then they found the was it osteosarcoma.
the pain was getting worse and worse, and I was taking more doses of morphine to manage the pain. And then the pain wasn't getting better, and the lump was getting bigger and bigger. So the treatment of antibiotics that they gave me for bone infection wasn't doing anything. So they'd done a biopsy. They sent me to a different hospital, and then they'd done.
Yeah, you actually went to the Royal Orthopaedic Hospital in Birmingham, which I know really well because my mum had her knees done there. So you went to there, and that's when they said it was actually a bone infection, didn't they?
Yeah. So then they extracted some bone from my leg and sent it to the labs, and the results came back quite quickly. And the doctor just came in. I was in A&E, just like I'd been in hospital for 6 weeks, and I was waiting for the results to come back, and I was just on antibiotics with that.
So you've been in the hospital
still.
6 weeks? That's a long time, isn't it? And you were so young.
Yeah.
So, Abraham, so you got cancer, you went through chemo, but then they decided that your leg needed to be amputated. Even at such a young age, what goes through your mind when you know that's going to happen?
I couldn't believe it. Like, I thought it was fake, and I was telling them to like do the test again. I was just pretending like I wish I was dreaming. Like, I didn't want to hear the sound of anyone's voice telling me that you need to go get treatment and you need to go here and you need to do this and you need to do that. And it went from like being absolutely fine without like a care in the world to living in a nightmare.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then just being in and out of hospital all of the time, and having all of the symptoms from the chemotherapy was like unexplainable. Like, I couldn't explain this like chemical torture, and they flush you with like antibiotics for 2 weeks after giving the dosage to flush the chemo drugs out of the system, because it's literally a poison. If it stays in your system, you can actually die from having it in your system, because it obliterates like all cells. It's like TNT exploding in your body. And that's how the doctors explained it to me as well, because I'd have my chemotherapy and then I was supposed to be recovering at home for 2 weeks, but then the side effects would get so bad I'd just end up hospitalised again, and I'd be on like platelets and blood transfusions and antibiotics and anti-sickness medications.
There is a happy ending to this story, and it's an unbelievable piece of surgery that these doctors have have done. So can you explain what they did and how it's changed your life?
So I had the tumour in my knee, and my foot was healthy and the top part of my leg was healthy. It was just the middle part that needed to be removed.
Yeah.
So then they saved the residual limb and sewed it back onto the top of my thigh, but backwards. So they rotated it 180 degrees.
Why did they do that?
Because if it wasn't rotated, then my foot would be like facing my face.
Yeah.
Like it would be this way up. And when I move my ankle, it like
It makes sense though, because once you've got your prosthetic on, it acts kind of like a knee, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so clever.
So like I just can control my foot with my nerves, and like think that I've got a foot there which I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And when I first started to learn how to control it, I could barely like move it a flinch. It was like I had to focus on how to like get it to move.
Look at you now. Look, we're just watching you having a little boogie.
Yeah.
And have you gone back to sport? Can you do sports now and stuff like that?
Yeah, I really like swimming, so...
Do you like swimming?
But I have to take my leg off, so I just swim with my arms. So.
And badminton as well? You didn't play badminton? Yeah.
And you're on social media. I love the fact that you're so positive about everything as well. It's unbelievable. What is it that drives you through?
Just being able to still be alive and have like the second chance to experience every day and still be able to be independent and not rely on anybody and still get out and about and live a normal life.
It's incredible.
Listen, you're an inspiration. Your surgeons, the medical team around you are an inspiration as well to be able to do it.
So clever.
So
clever.
Thanks for joining us.
And thanks for telling your story.
Yeah,
thanks so much.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the morning.
For all of that, now there's been a reported rise in dangerous cyclists across the country in recent years.
So here in London at peak time, cyclists make up 40% of road traffic, which is great because people are getting on their bikes, they're not using buses and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really positive thing to see so many cyclists. However, there are issues because under the current laws, reckless or dangerous cyclists who have hurt or even killed someone still only face a small fine or minimal jail time.
Our next guests know firsthand the life-changing repercussions that an encounter with a dangerous cyclist can have. Kate Wilson and Samantha Latham are here now to share their story. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Pleasure. So, can you take us back to March 2022? You were walking together.
That's correct. Yeah, we'd been out for something to eat and walking to get a taxi. It was about 9 o'clock in the evening. We were on the pavement, walking towards the taxi. And that's the last thing I remember. I was hit from behind by a cyclist on the pavement. Right. But Sam can probably fill you in on the rest, because...
Yeah, so we were actually walking on the pavement, linking arms. Kate was on the outside, I was on the inside. And the next thing we know, we'd both fallen, well, I'd fallen down to the floor and I never broke eye contact with Kate. Kate was lifted upright, so far in front of me. It worked out to be about 10 or 12 feet, and just literally landed and her head hit the floor really, really hard. I saw that happen. I ran over to Kate immediately and she didn't move. She was unconscious and blood was just pouring out of her head in a puddle. Obviously, I went hysterical. I turned around, screaming people for help. I turned around and saw the cyclist. He was also lying on the floor and his bike was quite far away from him. So initially went to check if he was OK, realising what had happened. He just opened his eyes and he was quite aggressive and intimidating. So in that moment, I was just in a sheer panic. A couple were walking past and they came over to help. So, you know, we started calling ambulance, police.
Your fear, though, was that you thought
Kate
was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you kept looking at her. I mean, it sounds like something from a movie when she's banged her head and there's a pool of blood that's going. I can only imagine the terror you had.
I think that's what it reminded you of, something out of a movie. And because I could see the pool of blood moving and Kate unconscious, I didn't know what condition she was in. You know, I didn't know whether her face was okay or there.
Yeah.
It was just, it was the scariest situation I've ever been in.
And when I came to, I had no idea what had happened, but I thought I'd been hit by a car.
Yeah.
I sort of presumed in those sort of moments that I'd been hit by a car. But yeah, we essentially, the guy got back on the pavement, cycled off, you know, swore at Sam. And then, obviously, I went to hospital and got patched up, which, you know, my teeth were knocked out by my 2 front teeth, and my face was cut, my nose was bleeding, and my lip was all cut. And then my bone had popped out of my finger. Yeah, so, you know, the NHS have been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I had 3 surgeries on my hand in the end, which resulted in an amputation of my finger and knuckle and a little portion of my hand. It's called a ray amputation, where they take a slice off your hand because the tissue damage was so bad. Yeah, so it's life-changing injuries.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary thing. The cyclist mounted the pavement.
Yeah.
It was a one-way street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
down
He was
the wrong hometown.
Yeah.
You know,
in
we
your
know
hometown.
it.
So you two were on the pavement. You were where you should be. He mounted the pavement.
Yeah.
Hits the 2 of you.
There was no warning. So no sound, no
Didn't
get out
shout.
of the way, no move, no nothing. It was just we were
Plowed
just
into
hit.
us.
And then got up and cycled off shouting at you and having a go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
fortunately, though, Sam, you filmed him
Yes.
as he was leaving.
I think as he started to gather his bike together and looked like he was leaving, that's when I instinctly took my phone out and recorded him.
I just don't know how she did it in that moment.
No, that was really quick thinking.
It was. And I think one of the things that, you know, is important to say is that not everybody has such a quick thinking friend with them to be able to record it.
Because the reality was that had you not had that footage, you would never have found him.
No, never
And,
found it.
and how did you track him down in the end?
That's Kate's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you won't mind me saying, but we got, I mean, obviously we reported it to the police. My husband screenshot a photo of him from the video footage and then literally walked around the streets and all of the pubs and restaurants saying,
do
does
you know
anybody
this man?
recognise him? Until a landlord at the pub said, yeah, he was in here all afternoon. So we then found out he was drunk as well. And then through the powers of social media, we're able to then say to the police, this is the guy. And then he was arrested.
Right.
But he wasn't arrested. I think it was probably about 10 or 12 months after the accident. So it was all delayed. But then that actually had an impact when it went to court, because initially he said he wasn't guilty, which, kind of prolonged the whole process for us, because we had to go to court, childcare arrangements, time off work, etc., to then walk through the doors and the barrister says, no, he's changed his plea to guilty. And then the next time we went for sentencing, so then we had to see him and we, had to give our sort of personal statements. And I think it's important to say, the judge was brilliant, but he was confined by the law.
There wasn't enough in place to essentially convict this man.
So the law currently, wanton and furious cycling dates back to, I think it's 1861.
Wow.
And it's an offence if you use a bike or a horse or cart. So that's how old it is, Victorian. Yeah. So it's always going to carry a maximum of 2 years custodial sentence. But of course, because he pleaded guilty, he got a 10% reduction. As soon as you're under 2 years, you're entitled to a suspended sentence. So he was never going to go to jail.
Did he show any sort of remorse?
No.
None whatsoever. So he's irrevocably changed your life. You've lost a limb because of him. He was drunk, he mounted the curb, he hit you, he's been found guilty. And at no point has he shown any remorse?
No. And probably important to say as well, I've had a lot of personal expense because of the accident, and not had any
compensation
expense.
or no?
No. So because obviously he's a cyclist, he's not insured, that there isn't anybody to sue. I've had, haven't had anything from criminal injuries either. So, you know, I had to have my teeth repaired and, you know, I've had...
And the journey for physio and things like that, you know, that's extensive amount of
Yeah, because I had to go
logistics.
to a specialist hospital in Merseyside, Whiston Hospital, who were fabulous. But, yeah, so that's...
Obviously, these are all the treatments you've had as well, but how has it affected you on a day-to-day basis, both mentally and physically? How's it affected you?
Well, I think, you know, it has taken its toll, obviously. I've had 3 surgeries and lots of treatments, and I think the practicalities, you know, I talk about a finger, but it's actually my hand. I haven't been able to use my hand, you know, for a long time. It's had wires in it, it's had splints. So, you know, just simple things, you know, washing hair, looking after my daughter, driving, I haven't been able to do. So when the consultant said, you know, we're not going to be able to improve this, I think we need to amputate it, it was actually quite an easy decision then, because I was so tired of not being able to use my hand. So, yeah, so since the surgery, since, you know, it's been OK.
But the difference in your life is significant. And I think, Sam, that I know Ian Duncan Smith has been trying to champion the change in the law. The Tories were going to bring in a new law, but then, of course, the election got called. We now have a new government. What are you calling on the new government to look at? What would you like to see? What is it you think is going to be important now? Because that statistic, about 40% of rush hour traffic is made up by cyclists, and the vast majority of cyclists are law-abiding and do it very carefully, and we really need to say that. But for those ones like the one...
we don't want to bash cyclists, you know. I mean, obviously, it's amazing for the environment, and people should be encouraged to cycle, but ultimately, you know, pedestrians do need to be protected, and they've got...
And the law needs to catch up.
And
so
anybody
what needs
who
to
uses
happen
the road.
then?
Well, I think in an ideal world, I think that dangerous cycling law that Sir Ian Duncan Smith was trying to get that amendment to the Criminal Justice Bill kind of needs to go back on the agenda. And then any kind of injury that's caused through reckless cycling can then, you know, obviously the offence can be, you know, suited to the...
It needs to be more penal. It needs to be more...
It needs to be a deterrent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then I think as well, you know, if it was mandatory to have insurance, then we'd be able to track cyclists. We'd also, you know, victims. I mean, I was lucky enough that I was able to pay for my own treatments, but that there would be some sort of cost or expenses covered for victims as well.
We've had a massive increase in electric bikes as well, of course, that go significantly faster. I mean, you were hit by a pedal bike, but electric bikes can go significantly faster as well.
I think it's important to say as well that if had that been a small child or an elderly person, which it could have been because it was early evening, had it been a small child or, you know,
well, we could have been out with our kids.
They potentially would have been killed in that accident. And then, you know, there just needs to be more there in place, you know, to actually compensate and look after and actually, you know, address the actual accident itself. You know, and
I think thirdly though, there's just we do, I think, as a, you know, a slight societal change as well in normalising people drinking and going on push bikes, because it is really dangerous. And in the same way that, you know, we don't tolerate people drinking and driving, it should be the same. You know, we live in quite a rural area and perhaps it is accepted more, and it shouldn't be. You know, and I think that's down to, you know, communities, local communities as well.
Yeah, definitely time for the laws to catch up.
If the laws do catch up, then I think that will change as well, won't it? Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'd love to know what you think about that as well. Get in touch. Maybe you've got experience of it. Maybe you're a cyclist and you can understand exactly what the girls are saying. I mean, the idea of insuring bicycles is going to be complicated and difficult. You know, trying to get that. But I think lots of fear about these electric bikes. We're seeing more sort of issues with those and the speed that they go. Undoubtedly, there's some sort of real fear.
For sure.
They can do real harm. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Among the documentary's worldwide audience was the man at its centre.
Yeah, Jonathan Meyer is the man with 1,000 children, except he said he's not. and the title is just one of the many things about the documentary that he says are untrue.
Jonathan is here now to tell his side of the story. Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning.
Good
Lovely to be here.
Very
Thank
nice to meet you. So can you tell me how your sperm donation story started? It was with a friend, right, who was suffering with infertility?
Yeah, I was in college and I befriended this this friend and we were studying together. I studied to become a social science teacher. And he explained to me that he discovered in that time that he was infertile.
Right.
And he was talking about the possibilities like adoption, foster, to become a foster parent, and sperm donation. And the latter I investigated more because I never heard about it. I found it fascinating that people can help families in that way.
And how old were you then?
22, something.
So early 20s is when you first started looking into it. And then you found a sperm donation clinic in Holland.
Yeah, that's right.
And what happened then? You contacted them and they sort of welcomed you in and said, let's explain a little bit more about the process?
Yeah, I took 1 year to really think it all over. And it's a big impact on your own life, first of all. And after this year, I said, OK, I still feel positive about helping. And I contacted the clinic and they were very happy. They welcomed me and they said, well, please come by and we'll do a test. And I passed the test and I could become a donor. That's quite easy in that regard.
And what was it about it that made you want to get involved?
Well, first of all, I am from a big family myself.
Right.
I have 7 siblings. And I love that I've come from a big family. It's a blessing. I'm the 4th child, so I felt always blessed that my parents decided to have more offspring, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. So I also saw, like, that friend, but also other families in our church, that they were struggling to have a family at all. I knew that with the huge demand in donors that I could help them, help families.
Yeah, so once you realise and the clinic have said to you, look, you're fertile, your sperm would be very welcome and viable, then that's quite an exciting moment as well. So when you've started making these donations initially at the clinic, what was that experience like? And when did you, sorry, and also, Jonathan, when did you find out that not only were you making these deposits, but also the deposits had then led to creating children down the way?
Okay, yeah, they will inform you if you want. So after like 6 months, I could like find out, and they said you have already 5 children conceived with your sperm. So
after 6 months.
Yeah, I think, or maybe 7 months or something, because it goes like 6 months in like a container, and then they do another test and a test.
So clearly you've got sort of very, as Kat was saying, very viable sperm, because that's in that short space of time. Suddenly realising that you had allowed these families to have 5 children in that short space of time, what was that like for you emotionally? How did you feel about that?
Well, the thing that struck me was that I found out that I became a biological father.
Yeah.
That I directed my own life in that regard. I never, when I was a little boy, I would never think that that would be the first time I would be a biological father. I would always imagine it with a wife and children. Yeah. So that was something that I had to process.
Right.
Yeah.
So it initially started with 1 clinic. Then how many other clinics did you join?
In total there were like 6 sperm banks.
Right.
And there are 5 like hospitals where I only went once. So they say 11 clinics, but that's not correct. It's like 6 sperm banks, and then spread out over the country of the Netherlands.
And then you decided that you were also going to do it privately as well, and offer a service privately where you would get in contact with women that wanted babies directly.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to do that?
Well, at first, the clinic, it was great. It was security for me. It was safe. It was all in controlled manner. You will just deliver the sperm and they would hand it out to what womb it needs. But I felt like I I felt at ease at that moment. I was like, okay, maybe I can also see myself like a private donor. I was missing sort of like the human contact, like meeting people and maybe getting some updates about the child. And I think at the time I was ready for it. I said, okay, I could also be a known donor plus. So it means that you are with the recipients in contact from the moment you meet them.
So the child will know who their father is, and you can be in touch and get updates. Yeah. Interestingly, one of the allegations in the documentary is that you met a lot of these women as a private donor, and they asked you how many times you had donated or how many children, and you only ever said 3 or 4. And in fact, even by then, you had fathered a lot more children. Why did you lie to those women when you were meeting them privately about how often you'd done this?
Yeah, well, first I was fully open. I shared everything with any recipient that I would meet, like the amount of children that I've helped, my home address, everything.
So you disagree with what they... Because there's some of the women said, we sat down with him and he said he'd only ever donated 3 times and they were led to believe that you hadn't fathered that many children.
Well, no, so first I was fully open, but later, when I got in some trouble with recipients that I would meet, because you meet a lot of different people, and not all have like, well, some people are just, you don't want to help them.
Okay.
They get upset, and they will do things that are very unpleasant. So I found out by experience that to be fully open is very dangerous to me, because I'm a private donor, so I have no lawyers supporting me, I have no money in the bank that can help me if there's some trouble. Of course, in an ideal world, I will be fully open always. But for my own safety, I had to limit it.
Do you understand then why, if you're saying that you were doing it to protect yourself, but you were lying to these women, do you understand why they now feel victimised by that lie, but they feel like they were completely misled, as special as it is having a baby and a family that they always wanted? In the circumstances with which you have told them about yourself weren't true. Do you understand why they say they're victimised by you?
No. First of all, they wouldn't get this exclusivity or a number from a clinic. So if they would go to any clinic, they will not share how often the donor is being used. So,
but there are laws, though, in place with the clinics, though, correct?
In theory, yeah.
Because... because look, here in the UK, it's kind of 10 families, you can have as many children, and each individual country has different laws.
In the UK, it's like 10 families, but then the same donor, if people use, for example, a international clinic, will ship worldwide. So really? I am no exception. I'm not. That's why I'm so surprised about the movie. They really try to make appear that I have 550 children, is the correct number. So they make it more exaggerated, and then they pretend that I am very unique. But this is not unique. All the people that use a donor from an international clinic have hundreds of siblings. That is a fact.
So the documentary is called The Man with 1,000 Children, but you maintain that it's how many?
550.
Do you think that's okay? Do you think that's all right, having 550 children? Yeah,
because it's common practice. It's not anything for a donor. Of course, as a father, like if you have like 600 wives and then like 1,000 children, of course it's something different. But as a donor, and you spread it worldwide, it's over the whole globe. So, like I say, it's common practice. And this is something people have to realize, that they think it's something exceptional or unique, but it's not.
Okay.
And if they feel so strongly about it, they should register for a clinic. But because they're happy to have more donors. And then the numbers can go down per donor. Then they wouldn't need donors like me that help in a larger time. Yeah.
We have a right of reply from Netflix here. They say, we stand by this documentary and the subjects covered. Jonathan was approached to be a part of the series but declined. We also requested a right of reply from him, but again, he declined to comment. Why did you decide to not comment?
Yeah, they asked me and they were very vague at first, so they wouldn't say it was Netflix. And then finally they would say it will be a 3-part series for Netflix, and I declined because to me, Hollywood, music industry, Netflix, they're not really, for me personally, they're not very good parties.
Having watched it, do you wish you had been involved and you'd been able to sit and answer the questions from some of those those mothers and those families that feel like you have sort of had a detrimental effect on their lives?
No, I was very happy that I didn't participate, 100%, because now I can share on my YouTube, Jonathan Jacob Meijer, I can share my story, and I debunk also the lies that they share in the
One of the things
film.
that comes across, Jonathan, is that you have this YouTube channel and you're a very confident person. You clearly enjoy being the focus of your YouTube and sharing your stories and sharing who you are. One of the accusations is also that you have a bit of a God complex. You like the power. You like the fact that you have all these children all around the world now. Because globally, I think you went all over the world and you've been involved in this elsewhere. What do you say to people who say that that is really irresponsible? Because there is a real concern, and this is addressed in the documentary, that the genetic concern is with you fathering so many children, some of those children could come in contact without realising that they are related in the future. And there are all sorts of issues with that happening, and they could start a relationship not knowing that they share the same father.
Well, again, I have to debunk that, and that's what I do on my YouTube. It's not about me. It's about I have a diary, so it's more like my thoughts. I share my thoughts, and one of the things that I share, for example, is that because I'm a known donor plus, I chose the most open identity. The concerns that people have with inbreeding are real when the donor is fully anonymous. But with my form of sperm donation, the children can, with one question, and it shows in the movie, because I don't call it a documentary because it's very low quality for that. But in the movie, you can see also that one lady, she would find out that there were 3 other families in her city.
That puts the responsibility on the child. Like, so once the child has grown up, if a girl or a boy meets a partner, they have to say, oh, is your father, was he a sperm donor? And then that responsibility sits with those children, which could happen decades down the line. You think that's okay? They should have to find out what the heritage of their future partner is.
That's part of any donor child. It has nothing to do specifically with me. And as I already told I'm no exception. This is common practice for the sperm clinic. So it's part of donorship. And luckily, the parents are very careful with that. They will instruct the children from an early age. Be aware, just like adopted children, there's a story behind why you're in this family, and you need to take it in concern. And for what I've seen, my donor children, I'm with many also in contact on daily basis, and they enjoy meeting their siblings, and they go out in groups to do holidays and great things.
Yeah. Would you like to have your own children with the family one day?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you will do at some point. You'll have some that you'll be a full-time father.
Yeah, that's also why I stopped in 2019, because I felt that I was constantly helping others and traveling, and I sort of forgot my own ones. I really love to have...
There's enough of your sperm out there already. You need to focus on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I helped the demand for other people, and now it's time to listen to my own demands.
Fascinating to meet you, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think everything needs to catch up a little bit in terms of laws and protecting innocent people.
It'll be interesting. I mean, the documentary is on Netflix right now, and you can sort of make your mind up, having heard Jonathan's perspective and also the perspective of some of those mums, because they certainly feel very victimised by the experience that they've had. But it's been interesting to talk to you this morning.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
We've been looking forward to this, haven't we, Bubba?
Yeah.
Now, our next guest has been having the ultimate brat summer. She has been partying it up and popping bottles in Ibiza, proving age is just a number. Great-grandmother Margaret caused a storm online after she was seen hitting the dance floor alongside her grandchildren on the Spanish party island a couple of weeks ago.
Well, Margaret and her granddaughter Zoe are here to tell us a little bit more. But first, let's take a look at this party animal in action. Whoop, whoop. I'm going to put my glasses on. I'm going to get down an Ibiza. Yes! Oh, Margaret, honestly, it's just an absolute pleasure watching you. Look at her. Look at her. She's up for a lap, isn't she?
So, have you always loved dancing, Margaret?
Yes.
So always through the years, like when you were a teenager and stuff, you used to dance and...
Well, yeah. Keep myself busy and all the time. But put the music on and then dance with the music.
Hey, the first thing we've noticed, you've got good knees, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
You're jumping up and down. Those knees are really good knees.
I know. I'm jumping up and down with you.
So, Margaret, were you expecting to go viral? Do you even know what viral means? I mean, I mean,
What was it like when you saw the clip going out on all the computers and the phones and the social media? Has it been crazy?
It was amazing. I didn't expect it.
No.
I really didn't, because I blame Wayne for this.
Yeah.
I blame him as well. I blame him as well.
I mean, a lot we can blame him for.
You've only just started travelling, haven't you, Margaret?
That's right,
When was it?
yeah.
It's 8 years ago you started. You went. Where did you go?
We went to Thailand.
Yes.
The first holiday.
How come you've never travelled before? Why did you wait until you were 76?
Well, I had 6 children and I had them to bring up and all that, you know. So it's hard work, and I had to work myself as well.
So you've been working all your life. You've got your passport. You started travelling 8 years ago. No looking back.
And that's the first holiday abroad with Zoe and Mark. Yes.
So Zoe, give us some background to this. So, not many people take their grands on holiday with them. So, where do we start?
Right. So Thailand. We want to take her to Thailand because we were going for Christmas, weren't we?
Yes.
And she's just so fun.
Yeah.
You know when you. She's just so fun.
Everyone wants to be around her, don't they? What was it like in Ibiza? Because I heard that all the young women, they wanted to take photos with her.
It was... It was crazy. So we went to Ocean Beach, and you know when you take pictures of all the gorgeous girls.
Yes.
Oh no, they were coming over. Nana, can I have a selfie?
And so it's a story that you went out one night and you didn't take her, and she was so livid.
Oh, she was fuming. So we were going.
What, you got upset because you didn't go out?
Oh yes.
We were going to Ushuaia, and I thought I can't take my Nana to Ushuaia. I just can't take her. So I said to her, "Look, Nana, you'll have to stay in the villa. We're going to Ushuaia." Well, I'm coming. I said, you can't. And I didn't take her, and she was fuming.
So the next day.
But on the last day, on the Sunday, I said to Mark, do you know what? I don't want to have no regrets. Let's take her to Ushuaia, because she loved it at Ocean and she got so much attention.
Yeah.
Took her to Ushuaia, the same. She was stood in the middle dancing, everyone's like, Nana!
Oh, I love it. And you knew that she was going to capture the hearts of the nation, because she's been a star all your life, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's my everything.
So when Margaret started dancing at Ocean Beach, was that did sort of like the crowd sort of start to form, or like what were you thinking?
Could you see all eyes like?
Is that champagne there?
Oh yeah.
You're just chucking it around.
Yeah.
You look like one of the young ones. You do. You look incredible.
Well, do you know we used to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning drinking?
You didn't.
We did.
Oh my goodness.
And you know, honestly, we in Thailand, I was on a motorbike.
Yeah.
And Zoe and Mark and Layla, they were in a taxi behind, and I had this big helmet on. I looked like somebody out of space.
Yeah.
And I kept going like this to keep it on.
And do you think you're inspiring other older people now to live their life to the fullest?
Well, while we're on the other one, Ibiza.
Yeah.
There's a bloke on his motorbike, and he's coming up our path, and I said to him, you can't come up here, this is our apartment. He says, no, I live there, and there's like a side door where you could go, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I says, oh, well, excuse me. So I got on his motorbike. He drove me up, and then I said, I want to go to your door. So he took me up into his door.
Yeah.
And he says, you can't get off yet because the exhaust was hot.
Yeah.
You know?
So what happened?
His wife came out, and she got a stool, put it down, and she helped me off.
Otherwise, you're burning yourself. Well, listen, let's speak to the architect of all of this. The reason it went viral. We've got Wayne Lineker right now with us, who's down the line, I think, from Dubai. Wayne,
how are we doing, guys?
How's it going? Thanks
Morning,
for joining
Wayne.
us.
Oh,
so, Wayne,
so good to see you.
When did you first notice Margaret partying like a rock star?
Well, I was on my table, which is about 2 beds away or tables away from Margaret's, and I saw everybody making a commotion, and I think it was their granddaughter or somebody came to my table and said, Margaret wants to meet you. And so I was over like a flash, and yeah, she was just so much fun, you know, so much energy. You know, there's a picture. She gave me a little kissing one as well.
Oh, love it. Look at it. You've got your leg up and everything. Tell me something, Wayne. Do you think you're going to get more older people coming to Ocean Beach now?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I've never seen somebody as 86 years old with the energy that Margaret's got.
Yeah.
She's certainly got more than me, and I'm 62, so let's see. But I think it's a great inspiration for older people to realise that they can still enjoy themselves at an older age, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. Enjoy your time in Dubai, darling.
Bye.
See you later.
Margaret, don't forget WhatsApp me, babe.
Don't forget we're coming next year.
I'll be waiting for you, babe.
Yeah. Put her on the VIP list, Babs.
Yeah. Come on my table next year.
Oh, thank you.
See you
Bye.
Bye.
Well,
so it's like, how is this happening?
Oh, Margaret, honestly. I mean, you've got friends in high places now, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean,
they were marvellous. Oh, honest to God.
Did they look after you?
They did.
Oh,
they were marvellous.
Hey, listen, where do you want to go next?
Oh, I don't know. Wherever Zoe takes me.
Yeah.
Well, Margaret...
I only go when Zoe goes on holiday.
Yeah.
Zoe and Margaret, all morning, we've been saying that we're reclaiming Freaky Friday as a lucky day. And today, it's about to get very lucky for you.
Thank you.
Well, listen, you are going to the ultimate party destination. Our good friends at Virgin Atlantic and Virgin Hotels Las Vegas are flying you both to Sin City for a 3-night holiday so you two can party to your heart's content.
You're going to Vegas, Bob! You're going to Dermot's coming! Oh, I love you! You're so lovely. Oh, congratulations, babe. You know what? You are just a beautiful woman. You really are. Listen, it's competition time now. Thank you, guys. You're off to Vegas. It's competition, and thank you to our lovely friends at Virgin for doing that. So lovely. And thank you for including me and Dermot as well. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Now, today's National Dementia Carers Day, recognising the challenges faced on a daily basis by the incredible people caring for those living with dementia.
And our next guest knows what a huge toll this can take. 10 years ago, Graham Sutherland's life changed forever when his mum, Linda, was diagnosed with the early onset of Alzheimer's disease at just 59, so young.
Well, Graham has since helped countless others by sharing his experience of caring for his mum on social media.
She was diagnosed just before she was 60 with late-stage Alzheimer's, but it was early onset. My mum doesn't go away most of the time.
We're going to the zoo.
In the past 3 years, that she's declined a lot more. Now she's wheelchair-bound, can hardly say any words, and requires assistance eating and drinking it most of the times.
How are you doing? We sing some songs. Have a good time?
Yes.
That was the clearest I've heard you speak. Right, let's get singing, right?
It is going to get worse. She'll stop being able to eat and swallow at one point, and she'll stop speaking completely, which is very difficult to think about. Life can change very quickly, so make the most of it.
Oh, Graham Sutherland joins us now. Graham, thank you for joining us this morning. They're extraordinary videos to watch. If you haven't watched, I'd urge you, I'm sure Kat will, to find Graham's TikToks to get an amazingly honest, searingly honest insight into what it is to have to care for somebody who has suddenly got such a cruel condition. What made you want to start recording them and sharing them?
It happened by accident. So during lockdown, like most people, I was doing stupid videos on TikTok, but then I just happened to video my mum one of the days, asking if she knew who my dad was, and she remembered his name, and I just uploaded that and had a huge reaction from it and thought there's something here. Because of the age of her, a lot of people were quite shocked that she actually had Alzheimer's, so I thought this could actually help a lot.
There's a bit of a myth, isn't there, that Alzheimer's dementia only affects older people, and she just certainly wasn't old at the time.
Definitely not.
When did your mum first start showing signs?
So she was 59 when she was diagnosed, but my dad passed away a couple of years prior, quite suddenly, with a brain tumour.
Okay.
So she was diagnosed with depression, which we thought was normal.
And how long was that before she was 59? What age was she at the time?
When my dad passed away?
Yeah.
About 57, 56, 57.
Wow, that's so young, yeah.
So those couple of years, she had depression, it wasn't getting any better.
Right.
And we were questioning what's actually going on here. And it's her personality started changing. She was quieter, she was losing a lot of weight, but they are signs of depression. So it wasn't until I took her to London to the Harry Potter studios. She started spraying deodorant in her shoes and was crying, trying to take a picture on a camera, didn't know how to press a button and didn't know how to put a seatbelt on. That's when we knew something was a bit more sinister here and we went to get her checked.
So we're looking at a little bit of footage. I mean, you took a bit of footage. There's amazing moments within the Harry Potter at Leavesden where you can experience things like picking up the broomstick. I'd imagine that would have been, if she was confused anyway, that would have made no sense to her.
That's why I couldn't understand why she wasn't able to do that. That video that you've seen, that's when I was questioning why can't she understand such a simple task.
What's it like what was it like when you and your sister got the diagnosis, though, and how did your mum cope with that?
It was really hard to hear the words. It's not something you expect. I didn't know anything about it, so we were really broken by it. My sister kind of broke the news to her, and I think my mum knew because she was very upset, but I think she was relieved that somebody else knew because she'd been hiding it that whole time.
I was about to say, my nan had the same thing and she hid it for so long because she didn't want... It was almost like she didn't want to believe it herself.
Once everyone else knows it's true, so it's that denial thing, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then you and your sister basically became full-time carers for her?
Yep, my sister was a nurse, so she worked night shift and I worked during the day. And we swapped over.
And what was that like for you? What was the general day-to-day?
Just making her food, getting her drinks, because she stopped being able to eat properly herself, and medication. My sister would do the personal care before we get the carers in, things like that, and just making sure she's safe at all times because she can get up and move about the house and get a bit confused.
Yes. Yeah.
She's had to go into a care home now, which I know you and your sister say is undoubtedly been brilliant for her and for you as well to recharge. How is she and how are you both doing?
She's doing amazing in there. We are starting to get a bit of a life back because we can switch off a bit now, whereas before it was a 24/7, could not stop thinking about her, what she was doing, even sleeping, you wake up. But she's doing amazing for having Alzheimer's. She is going to get worse, but it's been great there. So we did our research thoroughly before we put her into that care home.
What was so interesting to Ben and I when we were looking on the TikTok was some of the aspects of someone having that disease that you kind of don't almost think of. Like there's one TikTok that you posted where you talk about her friends don't come and visit her and they don't... And it's sometimes because people can't deal with what's right in front of them. And you feel like that's a really important thing to change?
Yeah, I do understand it can be uncomfortable for them.
Yeah.
And that they might not want to see the person she is now, might want to remember her for who she was. But it would mean a lot to her and to us if more people visited. But I guess it's just their way of dealing with it as well.
So what would be your advice, though, Graham, because you and your sister are living this, for anybody out there who may be sort of going through something similar or nervous about the scenario that they find themselves in with somebody in the family who has Alzheimer's or early onset?
I would definitely do your research because Alzheimer's is quite complex and there's lots of different types of dementia you can get. And definitely make memories. That's the best thing to do. What I've been doing, I've been making so many memories with her. Because there is a happy time in it, even though it's very sad, you can make happy times. And power of attorney is something to get straight away because that can be very difficult further down the line.
Well, look, thank you for joining us today. The TikToks are extraordinary. It's incredibly honest and generous of you to share that journey and offer comfort to lots of people, I'm sure, that are going through a similar thing.
For sure. There's so much comfort from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. Now, it was the big story which came out of the NTAs last night. ITV drama, Mr Bates versus the Post Office, quite rightly swept the night, taking home 3 of the big awards.
As we know, the drama had a huge impact on the struggles faced by hundreds of postal workers. But when former sub-postmaster Jo Hamilton took to the stage last night, she revealed there's lots more work to be done.
I want to say thank you to all my colleagues who are behind me, who without strength in numbers, we wouldn't have got to where we are. And the public got behind us and changed, literally changed everything. I went to Westminster a couple of weeks back and saw the new minister, and trust me, nothing has changed. And almost all of these people behind me haven't been paid yet, including Sir Alan Bates. So when he comes back to the nation for help, please be there to support him.
Wow, what an incredible... Jo, I have to take my hat off to you. You were so eloquent and everybody in that room was behind you. You did the most amazing job up there.
Well, when you listen back, you think, ooh, did I do that?
You really did do that.
Oh, you did do that.
Yeah.
Live in front of 15,000 people there and millions watching at home, Jo. And I think one of the things, and obviously we were thrilled that Mr Bates versus the Post Office did so well last night and was recognised for what it managed to do. And the point of the drama that was so exciting at the time, I'm sure from your perspective, was there seemed to be a real push for change. The government had seen what had happened, the government at the time, Rishi Sunak stood up and said, we will look after you, we'll exonerate those that were given prison sentences, and we will pay out this compensation. And it wasn't until you spoke last night so brilliantly and eloquently, it became apparent that that just hasn't been happening.
No, it hasn't happened. The government keep pushing out. We've paid out £230 million. They push out huge numbers and they blind the public, really. But the fact of the matter is the bulk of our group that fought, and we've been together since 2009, we went through the High Court and won in 2 big trials in 2019. That's 5 years ago, and we've still not been paid. You know, I settled at 80% because it took 3 years, must have cost more than they ever paid me to actually get 80% of my claim.
That is one of the extraordinary things. You were saying that they've said that they've settled £230 million, but your estimates on how much they've spent fighting these claims is how much?
Well, there was a Freedom of Information request which ended in March, so it will be much higher than that. But they've spent £260 million paying out £230 million. I mean, really?
Extraordinary.
You know, why they can't simplify everything and just get people paid, I don't know.
Well, I think that was one of the frustrations, actually, that came across so brilliantly in your speech, was that it's like nothing has been done. The same thing is just happening. What would you like to see happen?
Well, I mean, the ministers come and go. We've had lots of ministers. But the guys behind the scene in the departments, they've been there throughout all of this, and we've seen the shenanigans that's been going on at the inquiry, you know, and we're dealing with the same people. It's almost like the fox is in charge of the hen house. It's, you know, that's what we're up against.
So one of the last rulings you had was that everyone would have been paid by, am I right in saying July 2024 was
August
August.
In March 2022, they said all of us would be paid by August 2024. So then when it got close to August, they said, oh, we'll extend the deadline because we don't want a handful of people that might... Because apparently it's in law that we all had to be paid by then. So they extended the deadline to August 2025 and nobody's been paid. And that gave them another year to mess around.
They extended their own deadline. How generous were they extending deadlines to you and the other fellow sub-postmasters when they were demanding payment of this money that had seemingly gone missing?
Yeah, I mean, we had to put it in by the morning. I mean,
so there was no extension of deadlines
regardless of the size of it, no extension.
So what is Alan Bates's plan that you mentioned there in the speech?
Well, he will go back to court and, you know, and take them on again, which is also... It shouldn't have to happen.
No.
You know, it will cost the government an absolute fortune. But we won't have to go to litigation funders this time because I'm sure the nation will get behind him and support him through court, or support the group through court.
Yeah.
Because he'll take everyone else being messed around, you know, because you saw the people there last night, and I think the oldest lady is 91, Betty. You know, I mean, for goodness sake. Why can't they just, if a claim is reasonable, pay it? Why do they have to have all the I's dotted? Oh, they want reports, they want medical health reports. I mean, It's just...
You've been through it.
Yeah, they're making it as
Just give you the money that you've been waiting for and you deserve. So the new Post Office Minister, Gareth Thomas, you've met Gareth Thomas. Do you feel more hopeful that he's a new minister, it's a new government, that... No?
No, because he's actually not running the show. The department is the Department of Business and Trade, the civil servants. They're in charge of the scheme. And they've just awarded their lawyers another £10 million contract to advise them going forward. I mean, they speak about 10 million, like we speak about a tenner. It's like, oh, 10 million. It's like, that's because it's not their money. No. It's our money.
Yes.
Jo, what hope do you have for this?
I have every hope in Alan, but it really shouldn't be necessary. You know, why we can't just all sort it out. Get rid of it, clear it off the books, you know, because we won't go away until we'd all shut up and go away if they just sort it.
Yeah.
My right of reply is over there on the desk if you need me to go and get it and read it out. Let me go and grab it. Excuse me, 2 seconds. No, you probably could have. You'll know exactly what they've
what
said.
They're going to say, right? And it's going to be all dressed up in language.
So this is what the government have said. The Department for Business Trade We recognise the immeasurable suffering postmasters have endured and they have waited too long to receive redress. That's why we're working tirelessly across the government to bring them some relief with full, fair and swift redress.
Swift.
We've already paid out 289 million.
Next year.
This is an interesting one to get your thoughts on. We've already paid out over £289 million to over 2,800 people across 4 redress schemes. We've also made 253 offers and introduced a new compensation scheme to speed up redress for those with overturned convictions. Those 253 offers, just explain the offer that Sir Alan Bates has received.
Well, his first offer came back at less than 15%.
15.15?
Yeah, and he refused it, and it went back, and they upped it to 30%. You know, I mean, for goodness sake.
30% of the compensation.
Decades of your life.
Yes.
And they think they can get away.
4 people lost their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you get back.
And they'll hide behind the idea that they've made 253 offers, but when the offers are that derisory at 30%, of course they're going to get sent back.
And some of the offers in the historical shortfall scheme, they were unrepresented. They fell into the arms of Post Office, filled out forms, and they got peanuts back. And they can tick the box and say they've settled it.
Wow.
Jo, I'm so sorry that you're still having to battle. You've still got the public support. You heard that last night.
That's one thing for sure.
You heard it. I just want to... Were you able to enjoy the evening at all?
Oh, it was magical, really magical, including Ollie Murs, who stood behind us all and had a photograph because he thought we were the heroes.
You are the heroes.
Sure.
You absolutely are the heroes. And you deserve to have that moment of recognition, and you will undoubtedly have this huge momentum of support going forward as well. We will be supporting you at every step of the way, Jo. You don't deserve to be treated like this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming in. OK, let's talk to Nick now, and let's see. Nick, how eloquent is Jo?
Well, what Jo and all the others need to know, Kat, is that we picked up on this because I was with you, as you know, last night, and I threw it open to the listeners. So, Jo, be in no doubt. The listeners are absolutely... They share your fury, the power of your speech. What you did brilliantly is you went from cheers to jeers, because everyone was cheering what you and your colleagues had achieved, and the actors as well, and everybody was cheering. And your timing was superb, because they were... And then suddenly you dropped the bombshell. I remind you of the numbers. 555 victims, more than 300 not had an offer. Sir Alan, 30%. And suddenly it dawned on the audience the treatment that you've been receiving, and that's when the jeers and the boos started. So if you take anything away, apart from the magical night, I'm sorry I didn't get to actually meet you. I spoke with one of your colleagues down in Cornwall, who you probably know well, Penny, who couldn't be with you, so she was on my show today, and the calls absolutely flooded in. So as Ben was saying, as Kat was saying, be in no doubt. The public are ready. If it takes Mr. Bates, Sir Alan versus the Post Office Part 2, we are all going to be here for you. Be in no doubt of that at all. So well done to you.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Jo.
Thank you, Jo. You can go and get some sleep now as well, because I know you had a lovely late night.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, though, we're going to start talking about Ozempic, the drug that, of course, you'll have known and heard about. It's soared in popularity, being labelled as Hollywood's weight loss secret.
But as the demand for Ozempic remains sky high, doctors are now warning of the dangers of buying the injection online.
Yeah, it comes amid a worrying rise of patients visiting A&E with serious, life-threatening complications, just like our next guest, Jodie Jones.
Jodie had to be rushed to hospital after purchasing a fake version of the weight loss jab on WhatsApp. She's joining us now to share her shocking story alongside Dr. Negat. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Doctor, let's start with you, first of all. What are the dangers of Ozempic and what's it supposed to do?
So in the UK, the Ozempic is actually semaglutide. That's the medication. And what it does is it works as a GLP-1 agonist. So it tricks the brain into thinking that you're full. It also slows down the gut, as makes you, again, feel full. By doing that, actually, the way that the licensing has been done in the UK is it actually is for type 2 diabetic patients.
Right.
It wasn't as a weight loss, but we realised that actually it works really well for weight loss. So you mentioned earlier on the Hollywood trait that started, because what happened was that individuals realised, aha, I'm onto something amazing. I can use this for weight loss off licence. So we can do a lot of medications off licence. Doesn't particularly make them unsafe. It means that's not the indication that you need it for. What happened with the dangers of that was the fact that actually all type 2 diabetics weren't able to get hold of them. And so we had a huge rise in this demand. And unfortunately, fakesters saw the fact that this is a vulnerability that people have.
Easy money.
Easy money. And also the way that Ozempic works is that it mimics having a gastric band without having a gastric band. So it's a once a week injection. So happy days, right? It's great.
You just don't feel hungry,
You don't
right?
feel
That's what
hungry.
I've heard
And
from
so
people.
it allows people to use it off licence. But unfortunately, this is where we've come into a real problem.
OK, so there's been a huge demand for a big rise in the profile of it and lots of people sort of cashing in. So, Jodie, where did this all start with you? Because I'm sure a lot of our viewers will sit here and be watching this morning thinking, Jodie looks great, she looks healthy, she looks fine, she certainly doesn't need, looks like she needs to lose a lot of weight.
Well, it started a few years ago. I went on new medication for my health issues. I have arthritis and I've had spinal surgery, so my body's gone slower and I'm struggling with pain. So I went on to a new drug that is for nerve pain, but unfortunately with that came weight gain as one of the side effects. So over the years, I've gained a good few stone of weight, which has impacted my pain and caused more pain. And made me slower. So I really needed to lose weight.
You tried exercise and the health eating, but because of the pain that and your arthritis, the exercise is an issue. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's exhausting. And by evening, if I overdo it in a day, I would struggle so much. I could be bedridden for a day or a week or 2 weeks. So it's a big impact on my life if I try to do more in the day.
And was it because of that reason, that your GP actually said, do you want to try this for weight loss? Because your GP recommended it, right?
Yeah, my GP recommended that. He wanted to refer me to a dietitian, which is what he did. And he mentioned about this injection. We spoke about it, and it seemed like a really great idea. He did warn me that, I might not get it on the NHS. There's quite a tough category to sit into to get that. It was quite exciting to think that there was something out there that
you couldn't get hold
could help.
of.
So he would try to refer you to a dietitian, but that was going to take a very long time to get that appointment with the dietitian, and then you might not even qualify for the Ozempic anyway.
Yeah.
But then you suddenly saw there was an opportunity because a friend of yours had found somebody who was selling what claimed to be Ozempic.
Yeah, I'd heard it off a friend. She was trying it. She was doing really well on it. This lady was selling semaglutide as she advertised it. So I got her number and WhatsApped her. And got the ball rolling, really.
And what did you get and how much did you pay?
I bought a month's worth, so 4 syringes for £20 per syringe.
Wow. And did you have to go through any checks at all? Did you have to answer any questions?
No, she didn't ask any health questions, nothing.
Right. So then you administered the first injection.
Yeah.
Did you feel strange straight away?
I felt sickly, felt quite queasy. Good few days I felt quite unwell. I did message her back and just say, is this normal?
Yeah.
Is this sort of one of the side effects? She reassured me that it should subside by the next day, take some anti-sickness, which it did. And then for that week, as you've said, I felt full.
Yes.
I felt like I couldn't really manage my food, which I thought was brilliant. I thought, this is really working.
That was the effect you wanted?
Yeah, yeah.
So when did things go wrong?
The second injection, a week later, I took it the afternoon, and by that evening I just started vomiting and couldn't stop vomiting. I thought, hopefully it'll subside. Maybe it's because the dose has gone up. I thought, you know, give it 24 hours, I should feel better, but no, didn't feel better at all day throwing up. And that was on the Thursday night, and then by the Friday night, I was so dehydrated, I was passing out.
But you were actually vomiting blood as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it escalated very quickly, actually. And at what point did you turn around and go, I actually need to go to hospital here, this is very scary?
My eldest daughter that was looking after me overnight, the Friday night, she phoned the ambulance early hours of the Saturday morning.
Called the ambulance?
Yeah, because I wasn't with it at all. I kept passing out, so I wasn't really there. I did not feel well.
So when you got to A&E and you got to hospital and you were seen by a doctor, what did you do? Did you tell them what you'd done?
Yeah, I told the paramedics what I'd done. I told the hospital what I'd done.
How did you feel about having to share that with them?
Embarrassed. Yeah, I was very embarrassed. I was quite ashamed of myself for buying something and injecting myself with it that's made me so unwell.
And so, I mean, obviously you're well again now.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in hospital before you were allowed to leave?
Well, when I was admitted, my blood sugar and blood pressure were extremely low. I was severely dehydrated, so I was very unwell. It took me till the next day to start eating a little bit. I managed half a yoghurt.
Yeah.
And then it was a good week after that until I started really feeling more myself. I was very dizzy all week and very unwell.
And did the hospital say anything to you as to what you'd injected yourself with or what was actually wrong with you?
They described it as a fake. They were pretty adamant. The doctor come to me and said, you're not the first and you won't be the last.
So he's had several cases of this?
And have you let the person know that you bought these injections off, that the drug that you had been given was a fake and it had this awful side effects?
Yeah, my mum was very angry at the time I was admitted to hospital, so she'd messaged this lady to ask, where have you bought this from? Can we just know, you know, is it off an actual prescriber? She wouldn't give any information, just apologised that I was unwell and that it hadn't happened before, and that was it. Wasn't really
Has it stopped her selling what she was selling before?
No.
Which is a doctor. I mean, that seems terrifying to me. But as a doctor, that must be awful. I think we can compare what it was that Jodie had to what... That's the fake one that you received, Jodie, isn't it? And then this is the original... Ozempic, so you know. So it comes in pre-loaded pens.
Yeah, which I know now.
Rather than syringes. I mean, Dr. Nighat, it must be so easily done.
Yes.
Especially if Jodie's getting anecdotal evidence from friends that's saying it's working.
And this is why we fall into that trap when we're vulnerable. There'll be lots of people sitting at home exactly in that phase where they feel that my weight isn't how it should be, I've got all these other chronic conditions as well, and you become desperate. You can't just walk into the GP surgery and say, can I have this weight loss drugs? And in fact, in Ozempic, we are reserving that for, say, type 2 diabetics, because also we have now got Wegovy, which is the licence. So Wegovy is semaglutide as well. This is where the confusion comes, because everybody's like, but it's the same medication. The difference between Ozempic and Wegovy, which is licensed for weight loss, is the dose equivalence. So it's higher concentrations. So it will actually cause weight loss with, say, Wegovy. Ozempic is just a side effect where you get weight loss. It actually reduces your sugars first, makes you feel dehydrated if it's not done appropriately. And this is where, in October 2023, there was a YouGov warning given out to doctors to say, please look out for fake Ozempics. And to put your head above the parapet to talk about it, of course you feel embarrassed. It's incredibly brave. But this is why we need to cover stories like this, because you won't be the first, you won't be the last. And unfortunately, it's something that I come across in my GP practice as well.
But see, if there's a shortage as well, that prompts people to reach out a different way and try something different. So is there any advice you would give? Would you just say, absolutely not, never get any drugs from anybody else that isn't your GP? Or would you do a thing of, right, this is what you need to look out for?
Yeah, I always say, look, we are going to have the private healthcare sector that's available to us. So a couple of top tips. One is that always look out for verified sites. So a WhatsApp group or recommendation from friends is not actually a good place. So look at whether they are MRHA, so Medical Health Regulatory Association have been regulating that. Also, look at what the actual medication is. Now we know what the fake one looks like.
Yes.
Because they're pre-filled insulin syringes. That's totally wrong. They should be pre-filled with all the 4 doses in one syringe. Also look at the prescriber. Who prescribes it? If it's a regulated doctor who does weight management, they will have a GMC number, like I do, and that's how I practice. And so you know that I'm a verified individual. But also they'll have the licensing as well in order to do that weight management. And finally, if you are going to have a look at the medication, we should always be starting at the lowest dose possible and then going higher up, because what we need to do is make sure that we're tracking you. So also looking at your weight. So there's strict guidance.
Sure.
If we want Ozempic or Wegovy, your BMI has to be on the NHS. It has to be 35 and above. And if you're Black and Asian community or other ethnic minorities, it's lower than that at 32. You've got to have type 2 diabetes or hypertension or sleep apnea. There's got to be other reasons why we would think that the benefits of taking something like semaglutide is going to outweigh the risks.
This is what the Department of Health and Social Care has said regarding the right reply. We strongly advise the public not to buy regulated medicines from unauthorised online retailers or beauty salons, as they can be dangerous. The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency continuously works to identify those unlawfully trading in medicines and will use its powers to take appropriate enforcement action, including, where necessary, prosecuting those who put people's health at risk. You're OK now, you're fine.
Yeah.
Still want to lose weight, though?
Yes.
And so are you waiting for that appointment with the dietitian? Will you eventually do it, or if that's the end of your weight loss jab experience?
I've been put well and truly off that. I know it does work, and if done properly, but it's put me off. I don't think I'll be doing that.
Take those risks.
No.
Very frightening. But thank you so much for coming on and for being so brave and talking about it, because it's definitely it's an epidemic at the moment, isn't it? So,
really
and thank you, Dr. Nugget. Thank you for your advice.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. Now then, we started today's show by unveiling mental health charity Calm's latest campaign that highlights the tragic number of young people who have taken their own lives in the last decade.
One of those balloons in that display of 6,929 is for Amelia, who would have turned 20 at her next birthday. Tragically, she took her own life just last year.
Well, Amelia's family were there this morning to take a look at the installation for themselves, and her brother Oscar, sister Harriet, Dad Mark and Mum Becky join us now. Good morning, all of you. Thank you for coming in and being here today. Becky, I wonder what you made of the installation first.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite wow. The kind of colour really hits you. And, you know, there's not much colour when you're kind of going through this type of loss. But just the number of young people and, you know, how to prevent that number growing is just really poignant. So.
I think it's a brilliant method of starting that kind of line of communication, opening up. Can you tell us a little bit about Amelia?
Yeah, so Amelia was really happy as a child. She was really good at school. Yeah. All her parents' evenings were an absolute pleasure all the way through. She was bright, she worked hard. And, you know, she was always into lots of activities, so dancing, athletics, gymnastics, hula hooping, biking. She wasn't very good at biking. There was a lot of time in that park spent teaching her. But, yeah, I mean, she was constantly cartwheeling. She was, you know, really happy, always had a really good, close group of friends. Yeah, you know, a really happy, very ordinary in many ways life.
And Oscar, what was it like what were sort of the dynamic between the three of you as brothers and sisters? Did you all get on well? Was she fun to spend time with, or would there be the usual sort of sibling fighting and things like that?
There was a bit of both, really. She was always, like, the role model, because obviously she was the oldest, so she was trying to keep us in line. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird dynamic in that me and Harriet would just be causing mischief and she'd be trying to...
Yeah, we'd be the ones fighting and then she'd be the one that we went to for advice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she was a bit of a sage, but also a little bit bossy with you as well.
Yeah, she was really bossy. She really liked being in control.
Yeah. And Becky, when was it that you saw any kind of changes, or when did you begin to worry? Was there one significant point, or was it gradually over a period of time?
Yeah, I think, you know, hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? And you look back and think there were probably more triggers than we recognised. But probably from the age of 16, and I do think COVID masked some of her kind of symptoms.
For sure.
It was very controlled at home. It was very, you know, very safe. But I think really it's just after her 18th birthday, that January, was the first sign of kind of depression. But she just seemed to kind of snap out of it. And, you know, when you think, well, it's just, you know, the time of year, or one to watch, or stress of A-levels, or...
And when you say depression, what were the elements of it?
So just struggling to get up. She'd worked really hard for her mocks and then seemed to kind of lose a bit of motivation and seemed to struggle to be getting her work done. Just kind of minor, nothing that you would put outside.
Just little things, but a collection of them.
Definitely.
Mark, I'm sure you've all talked about this endlessly and tried to understand how and why it happened. Was there a moment that you didn't know about that had happened, or was it as, you know, was it just as simple as it was the overwhelming feeling of being at that stage in her life that sort of got on top of her?
I think the thing that really crystallised it for us was when she went to university. That seemed to sort of bring the whole thing to a head. So when she first went to university in 2022, she fell over very quickly within 3 weeks and had to come home. And that's when we realised that there was probably quite a serious problem. We had seen some signs of depression before that, but this is when we...
How was she feeling? I mean, I mentioned this to you earlier, and I said we dropped our eldest off at university yesterday, and there's undoubtedly a lot of nerves and anticipation, but also excitement as well. How was she feeling about going to uni?
I think in the run-up to it, I mean, I think because all her friends are going as well, so, you know...
There's a buzz.
There was a buzz about it. She was looking forward to it, and it was only really once, because we took her down to Kent University, all her stuff, and we were settling her in, and she was just crying. She couldn't stop crying. And we couldn't really understand what the problem was. And she couldn't really tell us what the problem was either. Right. So we were staying locally with friends, and we said, look, we'll come back tomorrow if you're still feeling like this, but just see how you get on tonight. You know, go and talk to your flatmates and what have you. And so we went home the next day, and everything seemed to be okay. But then within a couple of weeks, she'd pretty much crashed and said, look, I've got to come home. We said, just come home. If you know, we don't want you being there unhappy. Just come home.
Which is exactly what she will have wanted to hear, and what all parents would turn around and say. And then she seemed to get better a little bit, Becky, right?
Yeah, so she was getting some treatment for anxiety and depression. She was seeing a psychologist. She'd been seen to the doctors. And it took a few months, and there were some bumps in it, but she really seemed to be turning a corner, and she'd got her bounce back in a step, and she'd got some work in a restaurant. She was talking about going again for university, switching courses, and it was all positive. And I think there was, a time when we thought, you know what? I probably should say during this time she kind of got an ADHD diagnosis.
Okay.
And that seemed to make so much sense and seemed to join so many dots.
Right.
And initially it was positive, but I think Amelia just had some shame about it, and she struggled with the, control mechanisms that she knew she needed to put into life to deal with the ADHD. Tried medication, but wasn't really
didn't do anything for her.
Didn't seem to be working. She didn't seem to really want that route.
Right.
So I think, just overwhelmed.
She did go back to university, didn't she?
She did go back, and she was coming home at the weekends. We were trying to do things a bit differently, giving her the kind of ability. It was only 2 hours away, so she could, And then she just phoned up one afternoon and said, no, I need to come home.
And I guess in a way, because one of the things that this campaign is about is getting people to talk, and you would have all been talking a lot at this time, and her being brave enough to say, look, I need to come back, that must have been a bit of a relief in a way, because you knew that she was going to be here and you could all look after her and give her everything that she needed.
Yeah, I mean, you think your child is going to be safe at home.
Yes.
So I think, when she was home, she was very upset when she got home. But the next day, she seemed to be kind of much calmer, much happier. And I think, you kind of think, she's at home, we can get through this. There's million different routes of getting to where you want to in life. We can take time and, we, honestly thought that she was kind of at home and that we could see a way forward.
But that positivity was masking something else, wasn't it? Which you now understand. Just to explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, so she came home. She had a good day the next day, spent a lot of time with us all. And then the next day, I took her for a coffee, which I quite often did to get her up. Gave her a few jobs to do that day. We'd also arranged for some further psychiatrist support. So it was kind of like, let's start again. Let's see if anything's been missed. Let's... so, we had a coffee. She was very quiet, but kind of perked up by the end of it. And then I went for a meeting in London, and, that was the last time I saw her.
Can't begin to imagine, Mark, how you deal with that, how you pick up the pieces of losing one of your children.
I think when it happens, you think, you basically don't know how you're going to carry on. It just felt like it just blown the family apart. And I think everyone goes through that sort of trauma phase for a few weeks, where you're just functioning day to day, really. But obviously, we have to be here to support these guys. Oscar was doing his A-levels, so you just take it one day at a time. We've had tremendous support from our family, our friends, the wider community, and the town we live in, as well as some sort of external professional support. And our employees have been very understanding and accommodating. It just takes it. It's a cliche, but it takes time. You do start to feel better. Obviously, we think about her all the time.
Yeah.
She's never out of my mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Somehow it does get better, but it's still tough.
Yeah, I think we were talking last week actually about grief and how the grief never goes away, and it will always be there, and it's from loving somebody.
You want it to be there to a certain degree because that's your, that's your memory. So.
Yes. But what advice would you give to any other parents that might be seeing some signs? Or, when I asked you about the question and you said in hindsight, these were little things, what would you say?
I say listen to your gut instinct, because it's normally right. You know your child better than anyone. But there was also, we weren't aware of all these organisations, and this was not going to be something that we were going to deal with in our life. It wasn't in the plan. There was no sign that Amelia was going to kind of have struggles. So just talk, just look for the help. You're not necessarily going to find it in the NHS. It's very difficult to navigate mental health. But, speak to... There's so many organisations, of which obviously Calm.
Calm is huge.
Big one, yeah.
Harry, I wonder how you all like to remember your sister now as a family.
Yeah, we made a big memory box that we put in her room, and we buy flowers every month, and we put them in her room and take down the old ones. And we talk about her as much as we can. We don't want to forget her memory and what she was like. Yeah.
She's still very present, Oscar.
Yeah, we do a lot of family holidays to kind of try and get away from it all. And I find those really nice because we can talk about it openly. It's just us. I really enjoy those to try and remember her.
Amazing.
And get away from it all, really.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for talking and sharing your story too. It's one of the crucial things I think I've learnt from this morning's show.
Unquestionably.
Just keep talking.
Thank you all for
coming
in.
If you need any help and support for yourself or for a loved one, head along to our website to find helplines and organisations that
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Wow. Ross Kemp, Mafia in Britain, starts this Tuesday, 10th of September. 9 p.m. on Sky History, and the man himself joins us now. Me and Al just watched a little snippet the other night of Ep.15, I think it is. We're obviously familiar with the Mafia in terms of Italy and...
TV. You've got your Sopranos, you've got your Godfather.
Right, yeah. We've read all the books, but the Mafia in the UK doesn't seem like a tangible thing. So what was the starting point of this?
Well, the starting point is the death of Roberto Calvi, who was known as God's banker. He was over 60 years old. I remember that. He climbed over Blackfriars Bridge. He got over the scaffolding. He's over 60 years old and slightly I would say, heavy for his age.
Yeah.
But he had 5 bricks in his underpants, 2 gold watches and about £40,000 in cash. And the police promptly said, that's a suicide. No, it's not a suicide, because it'd be very difficult to be a suicide. And it was a symbolic killing, and it's never been proven, but we think it was a symbolic killing. That starts the journey, but I end up at a caravan site in Preston looking at an Italian hitman who was travelling from Preston to Naples to make his hits.
So living in Preston?
Living in Preston, driving,
Unbelievable.
stealing a car, driving it, they were looking at Porsches at the time, driving it down to Naples, offloading the car, killing someone at the weekend, and then driving back and spending a week before he drove back again the next week. Jenny Panzuto.
So they're living here and hiding in plain sight, or...?
That's the way it works. And, you know, I've got to say, we travel all over the world. So we start off in London, but then we go to America, or I meet, you know, George the Cowboy, Monterano, Crazy Sal, Polizzi. These are the guys that were genuinely around during the Goodfellas days. These
are quite intoxicating people. Personalities are really interesting.
Like,
charming.
Central casting, charming, but also with that element of complete and utter danger, ruthlessness. George did 33 years inside, the first 3 years in solitary. He never gave up. But a lot of the people we speak to are pentitos, so they've given up information. There's one of them, Dominic Sigali, who makes me look a bit like a munchkin. He's absolutely charming on camera, but I've got a screen grab of him when he wasn't looking so charming, and he is terrifying.
So when you're in those situations and you're confronting people like that, how do you know that they trust you, first of all? How do you know they trust you? How do you know that your safety is going to be OK as well, and the crew as well?
In the series, we go from being, say, in the UK to being in America, going down to Miami, looking at the connection between the mob and the cocaine trade. And I ended up... It suddenly stopped becoming a history programme, became real when I'm at 4,000 feet, it's 2,300 at night, it's now 40 degrees nearly, still at night time. I've got a helmet on, body armour, snake garters, and we're traipsing around the Cauca Mountains, elevating to 4,500 feet, and I'm going, we'll be out by 0300. We're still stumbling around at 8 o'clock in the morning in daylight, and it's FARC territory, and they not often kidnap the soldiers. So I lost the nail on my big left toe. No longer a history show at this point.
You're in pain.
Because the thing is, when you sit down with someone
that
used to be in the mafia, you know you're going to be safe, right? There's no interest in bumping you off. You know what I mean? But when you're up in the wilds somewhere,
exactly.
That's a whole different scenario.
No, absolutely.
Right?
And I think you always have to be on your guard. And then the secret, as you all both know, is you look into people's eyes and you maintain that, and they can look into you, because their radar for someone who is a threat to them is way better than most people's.
Unbelievable. So why the UK? Was it a great place for the mafia to hide out?
I just think it's about hiding in plain sight. I think a lot of the people that I met, nearly all the people that I met, never had a choice, whether it was in Italy, in America. They were born into it, and there was no way out for them. Wow. And so the only way out for many of them is to, you know, become a pentito. But some of them have just done their time in prison talk. We speak to Marisa, who lives in Preston as well. She was the head of one of the biggest clans in Milan. She had to take over from her father. She's half Italian, half British. And she used to wear Bridget Jones knickers and stuff thousands and thousands of lira and travel them all around Europe to different payoff points for drugs and stuff.
I guess the lovely thing about the shows you do is you never know where it's going to take you in terms of the narrative of it, right? So there's a great starting point. Mafia in Britain, that's interesting, that's a USP. But then you must be the rabbit holes you go down.
I'm on a caravan park in Preston. I'm now going up to Aberdeen. There was a cell in Woking. And I think that's, again, why they're so clever. You know, they didn't choose London. They didn't choose Glasgow, Manchester, you know, Liverpool. They chose parochial sort of towns where there was something that they wanted, or something that they could do where they wouldn't be seen. And I think the other secret to their success has always been, and I have to say, slightly admire it from an observing point of view, is that they're always one step ahead of the authorities. And
they have people in authority working with them as well?
We do. There's one guy, he's called Keith, K-E-E-F. He was a custom and excise officer that went undercover for over 8 years. laundering money, not only for the mob, but also for the cartels. And they would just come to his flat in the middle of the night. He was given a Rolls Royce that had been taken from another villain. So he lived the life to the point, and I meet another FBI agent, McGowan, 25 years cold calling on mafia bars. So he said to me, "This is the first time, Ross, I've ever sat in a bar with my back to the door." And while he was undercover one day, the packs they used to, remember, he's wired. Yeah. If they found that wire, they would have killed him. And the pack went wrong and it started burning his back. And the guy says, "They're cooking steaks today." He had to go to the toilet and peel it off his back.
So obviously there's a book that's come from this because there's so much more than you can put on TV.
There's 5 programmes, but I would say that they don't do justice to the subjects or to the access that we gained.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable. We can't let you go until we ask about these EastEnders rumours. What is going on? Are you going back? It's the 40th anniversary.
Yes,
Tell me everything.
Tell you everything.
Is Grant going back?
I can tell you nothing.
But never say never. Never say never.
He's not kidding.
I'm not a pentito.
She's wearing a wire as well. I've just checked.
Exactly. She's
burning. Burning.
I am very proud that the show is celebrating 40 years. I wouldn't have had the career, good or bad, without it. I still love it. I still support it. And I would do if I'd come from Coronation Street, or if I was in Emmerdale Farm briefly for a bit. But so yeah, I'm very proud it's celebrating 40 years. I would support it in every way that I can. I can say no more than that.
If I was the producer, though...
Work upstairs! Smashing it out of the park.
If I was the producer, though, I would...
Well, the thing is, it was such a lovely, iconic time. I mean, the 3 of you were so brilliant together, you know. And the lovely thing about sort of bringing this right up to the present day is... And I went to go see Taylor Swift, and there was this great moment where every night her dancer, who's this brilliant guy, me and my wife couldn't take our eyes off him, called Cam Saunders.
Yes.
Who does one line, yeah? and the one line that he did, this is "We're never getting back together," I think, yeah? And he did the Barbara Windsor, "You get out of my pub," right?
Get out of my pub.
It's just...
She lives on.
Here we go, got it here.
Together. Get out of my pub!
And I think that's testament not only to Taylor Swift's sense of humour and the global success that she is, but also to Barbara's legacy.
Absolutely,
yeah.
She's amazing.
Why not?
She gave me she was my first ever live TV on T4, yeah. That day.
Really?
She was so me and Sheppy, yeah, she was so marvellous.
Ross, we're really excited. Thank you so much for joining us. It's called Ross Kemp. Mafia in Britain starts Tuesday, 10th of September at 9 p.m. on Sky History. Don't miss it.
Very well.
That was good, wasn't it?
Very good.
Alison.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
It was 2013 when Victoria Milligan faced unimaginable tragedy after her husband Nico and her 8-year-old daughter Emily were tragically killed whilst on family holiday. Victoria was also left with life-changing injuries.
But 11 years on, Victoria continues to use her grief to help others affected by loss after training as a counsellor.
I'm pleased to say that Victoria joins us now this morning. Good to see you, Victoria. Thank you for coming in. I mean, 11 years when we say it out loud sounds like a very long time, but I wonder how that feels when you think about it.
Yeah, it's so odd. It's like, in some ways, it does feel like a very long time, but then sometimes it feels like it was yesterday that it happened. And, you know, and I still can't quite believe that it happened. It was so devastating and unimaginable to have that level of loss in kind of one day, to lose a husband, a daughter, my leg. Kit was very injured as well, so we had a year of trying to save his leg as well. So it was, massive. And I think 11 years on, I kind of think, you know, I'm really proud of where we've got to. I'm really proud of where my kids are. I'm really proud that I've managed to kind of bring them up as a single parent, as a sole parent, but also still left with that sadness that Nico and Emily aren't here with us and aren't going to participate in our future and all the amazing things that happen in our future. So it's always kind of a double-edged sword of thinking, proud of where we are, but still that huge level of sadness.
Yeah. How has the grief changed as time has passed? Because I don't think it goes away, it just changes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think at the beginning, obviously, it's completely overwhelming. It's sort of all you can think about. And I think after something like that was very sudden, completely out of the blue, very public, it was on the kind of front page of every newspaper, it felt I mean, I was just in shock, I would say, for a very, very long time, actually. That I just couldn't actually quite imagine that it had happened.
Yeah.
And I was almost too scared to grieve.
Yeah.
I just didn't really know what that word meant. Like, what is grieving? You know, everyone's like, oh, you have to grieve. Well, yes, but at the moment, I'm just trying to learn to walk again, trying to bring up my 3 children, trying to get dinner on the table, you know, everything of just the normality of life. So grief for me was totally terrifying, and the pain of grieving for 2 very different losses, which is a husband and a daughter. I mean, I couldn't even comprehend how to do that. It's not just one grief. It's
and you
very
lean
separate.
on one for the other.
Totally.
But
and I was thinking,
they're
what
not
if he was here, you know, how would we be together grieving for Emily? And maybe if only she was here, then I hadn't lost any children and I'd just lost my husband. But obviously, both of them are gone. So I'd say over the years, I think I use the analogy quite a lot of it being like a tennis ball in a jam jar, that it's, at the moment, it fills up your entire world, your entire brain, your entire heart, everything. It's all you can think about. And then over time, your life can't help but expand around that grief, because life does go on. Like, unbelievably, life carries on and the clock doesn't stop. So you do meet more people, you do more things, you change careers, you move house, and, you know, your life kind of expands. So after a while, that tennis ball moves into a bell jar. So it's the same size, but it's not taking up as much room in your life and in your head and in your heart as such.
It's extraordinary hearing you talk so eloquently as well from what you've been going through. I wonder how you deal... Is there an element of guilt as well about life having to move on? There's the article that you did on the weekend that was so extraordinary, and you talked about the fact that you couldn't understand that your life had stopped but time was still ticking on. And there's an element, I guess, at times when suddenly you get carried away with life and then you suddenly remember what's happened, and then is there a sort of surge of guilt because you think, I don't want Nico and your daughter to feel like you'd forgotten them and they weren't still important.
Yeah, no, there is definitely that. And I think there's that with the children as well, that, you know, we quite often say we still feel like a family of 6, but physically we're a family of 4, but obviously they're always going to be a massive part of our lives. And there is that element of, I think I said in the article, you know, they have no more time and we do have time. And in a way, we do slightly owe it to them to carry on and live our lives to the full and kind of do all of that, not in a kind of cheesy way, but actually do make the most of the time that we have. And I think it's hard, you know, you said, Kat, about how grief changes. There is that thing about how do you keep their memory alive as time goes on? And, you know, kids don't like being sad, so it's not like I kind of go, right, let's sit and talk about Daddy and Emily. But obviously their birthdays, Christmas, we kind of get together. We're very good at communicating, the 4 of us, about what should we do on Emily's birthday, what should we do on Nico's birthday, what should we do for Christmas, in a way, what would they want to do? And I think I dragged them all to an art gallery on about the 2nd birthday of Emily's after she died, and we went to Tate Modern, and we've gone to St Paul's Cathedral. It's like the biggest church in London, you know, for the biggest love that we have for Emily. And then we walked over and went to the Tate Modern, and Olivia was kind of walking around going, she would not want to be here. I'll tell you that.
But you see, that is some great practical advice for people. Like, you know, do celebrate people's lives, do things that either they would love or they would hate. Exactly. What would be your other advice that you give to somebody maybe going through a similar situation?
I guess it's really kind of take that pressure off yourself about what you should be feeling. You know, you can read so many books and advice about the 5 stages of grief, and you might be, you know, feeling a lot better after 12 months or 18 months. It's kind of do it in your way and at your time, and be so kind to yourself, and don't berate yourself for not achieving as much as you could do before the loss, because it is exhausting and it is time-consuming, and I feel your brain is just not functioning in a way that it was at kind of optimum before a loss. And, you know, it is just go with whatever you're feeling at that moment, and don't be scared to reach out to people and kind of say, do you know what, I'm really struggling at the moment. And, you know, I kind of quite often say, we're not walking around with a broken arm, we're not walking around having... Visible. You know, it's invisible. And people don't know that I might have woken up with a horrific nightmare that I had about Emily the night before, even though it's 11 years on. You know, it doesn't go away. And I've now learned there's a handful of people that I can phone and go, I'm actually really struggling today. Can we go for a walk? Can we go for coffee? Can we...
Well, look, I know that you're retraining as a counsellor as well to help people through this, and your own learned experience. We thought it'd be wonderful if we could get some of your thoughts on some of our viewers and things that they've contacted us with. So Victoria's going to hear some of the viewers that have contacted us. So Gail, a little bit on the lines of what Kat just asked you, actually. Gail's struggling to move on. She's lost her mum. She says, I lost my beautiful mum 18 months ago, really struggling to move on. I still cry every day. I can't seem to function some days. I miss her so much. I'm just so sad about losing her. How do I learn to live with my grief?
Oh, Gail, I'm so sorry for your loss and for losing your mum. And 18 months, actually it's really not that long, and she was your mum. Think about the kind of massive loss that you have had with her. And I think that phrase of how do I learn to live with your grief, that's exactly it. It is just living with your grief, and it takes time, and it takes kindness, and it takes support, and it takes love, and it's remembering her in any way that you can, and not putting any pressure on yourself to try and kind of get over it or be better or be in a rush to kind of feel better after it. She was your mum, and I always say kind of grief is the honour of the love that you had for that person, and I'm presuming, you loved her incredibly, and she was a massive part of your life. So I think it's just stay with those days, acknowledge them, the days that you don't want to get out of bed, that you feel dreadful, it's okay, and kind of sit and maybe think about her and what you used to do together, maybe journal a little bit, remember all the happy times and the sad times that she was a massive part of your life, and maybe take the pressure off. And I think healing happens over time, and healing happens not by ignoring the grief or not feeling it, but by actually feeling it. And it sounds like that's really what you're doing. So I would say it sounds like you're kind of doing all the right things and in your way and in your time frame.
Yeah, acknowledge your mum.
Yeah, she was your mum.
Yeah,
it is sad.
Yeah. I've got one here from Lorraine. She says, my daughter gave birth to a baby in March 2022 at 23 weeks. Unfortunately, it was stillborn. Neither my daughter or myself were given a chance to hold the baby. We were given no support after and just sent home. My daughter now has PTSD as a result. My daughter hasn't been the same since, and I feel like I've lost my own daughter as a result. She doesn't want to have another baby. I feel so bad for feeling so broken, as it wasn't me who endured the pain. Do we ever heal from life-changing events like this? This is tricky because there aren't great memories to remember.
And so many, that massive loss of not even knowing the child and the loss of potential of what that baby could have been and what she could have grown up to be, and also just the really harsh and difficult way it was dealt with, of no closure. You're expecting to have this beautiful child, and then to lose it, through the pregnancy, and not be able to say goodbye, not be able to acknowledge the grief, not be able to kind of live with that pain for a while, and just suddenly have it kind of taken away from you, and kind of there you go, move on. So I think a lot of grief can be that acceptance and validation of this is where I am at the moment, and this is the loss that I've experienced, and someone else kind of being able to listen to you about this is the loss that you've had, and it is an absolute valid loss that you're feeling. And I think for the mother as well, the sadness of feeling guilty that it wasn't her loss, but that is exactly what you were feeling. So I think I would say try and just not feel guilty about you feeling so sad. It's your daughter that you're seeing going through something desperately sad as well. And also for her to have that awful PTSD after such a dreadful experience. It was last year, 18...
22, yeah.
Again, it's still, I hope, not that long ago. And with time and communication and talking and maybe the right support and help.
Yeah.
And facing into the loss and the grief and the reality of, the horrific experience that you've been through, hopefully will make you both heal together and be able to go forward from that.
Absolutely.
Interestingly, that question she asked at the end, do we ever heal from life-changing events like this? Hopefully, Lorraine, when you hear Victoria speak about her experience, and that was 11 years ago, and time has gone on, and you see where you've got to, that will give us some hope that they can eventually feel like they have got beyond it.
The bell jar happened.
Yes,
bell jar. It was a really good one.
Yeah, I think it's a healing. I don't know if it's ever healed, but I think it's definitely a very much an ongoing process that can be triggered out of the blue by certain things that you're not expecting, or by certain big days that happen that you weren't quite expecting to be triggered. But yeah, hopefully my story can give hope that actually horrific things happen in life, and there is a way, human survival or whatever it is, or support, and work out what you need to be able to heal and have a future without those that you loved in it.
Victoria, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for trying to help some of our viewers as well, because unquestionably that advice will land with them and hopefully help them along their journey too. Thank you. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
We're joined by the man who's brought some of the UK's most notorious killers to justice.
Yeah, former detective Colin Sutton was crucial to the capture of serial killer Levi Belfield and integral to putting Night Stalker Delroy Grant behind bars.
He was portrayed by Martin Clunes in the hugely popular drama Manhunt, and he is now sharing his stories firsthand in a brand new UK tour. And Colin joins us now. This is like mid-tour, isn't it? Where are you off to tonight?
I'm off to Blackburn tonight to do something. It's not, the actual tour doesn't start until Saturday.
Right. Oh, okay.
But it's a hangover from something else I was doing that I've got to go to Blackburn tonight.
Busy man, that's why you're so smart today.
Well, in case I get stuck on the M6. Yeah.
You never know, he's always thinking
Man
ahead.
in demand. Collins, lovely to see you. There is a fascination with the world of crime, particularly true crime now, and I can imagine there's a reason, because your tour goes on for a very long time. You're going all over the country, aren't you? It must be brilliant for you to be able to share some of the insight and stories from your experience and your life as a professional with all these passionate true crimers that come along to hear what you've got to say.
Yeah, that's really what motivated it, I suppose, Ben. It was, you know, I've written books and I do a documentary series, but the opportunity to be one-to-one almost, you feel like you are in a theatre, and you can go into more detail and there's kind of it's a two-way thing. So, yeah, it's huge fun, and it's also, I think, important. You know, these people are good enough to read what I've written and watch what I do on the TV, so why not go out and meet them?
Yeah, and it's not super serious. It's not super dark. Like it's supposed to be entertaining too, right?
Yeah, I try to make it entertaining. I'm not a very serious person.
No.
Strangely enough.
In fact, you told Martin Clunes that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did say the first. I thought the only criticism I had of the first series was that he was just too serious, but he nailed it for the second one. But yeah, I mean, it's not a criminology lecture by any means. It's, you know, we start off talking about, we'll just say, how do we do it? Because people used to ask me when I retired, how do you do a murder investigation? So I don't know, I just used to do it. And actually that got me thinking and worked out the sort of the formula that was going on in here, how to express that to other people. So we start off with that so they have an idea, and then talk a bit about the different sorts of murder investigations that there are, because they're not all the same by any means. And then the second half, look again at the Levi Belfield and Delroy Grant cases, but in detail about aspects of them that really haven't been rehearsed that much in the public eye, if you like. So I hope people, even if they're the most ardent true crime fan, will come away thinking they've learnt something.
So you'll be sharing details of the investigation that perhaps hadn't been made public previously and now can be, to give them a real insight. Let's talk about that, because the Levi Belfield case was a career-defining case for you. Take us back to when you first got put on that case, Colin. What were your thoughts?
Why me? I think
Really?
Well, kind of technically why me? It wasn't my turn, if you like. There's like a rota for when you take on a new case, and I was moving house. It was a Friday, and the following Friday I was moving house. So you can imagine what I was like and what the house was like. And when you know, not really the circumstances in which you want to be taking on the biggest case of your career, but. When I first went out and I realised what it was like, poor Amelie Delroy Grant, it's 20 years ago now. Amelie had been just, you know, tragically and just savagely beaten down to death on Twickenham Green. I got home that night. I was at work for many, many hours, and I got home in the early hours of the morning and sat in the garden with a can of beer, thinking to myself, well, am I up to this?
Yeah.
Because you do ask that question, you know.
You doubt yourself, I suppose.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
and I kind of thought in the end that, well, someone's got to do it. It's fallen to me. And I think as I've got older, I've realised that the best moments in your life are those when you can step outside yourself and say, is that me? Am I doing that? Because it means you're pushing the boundaries and you're, you know, exploring what you're capable of. And that was the case for me with that case. I won't say it defined me as a person, but it certainly defined me as a policeman.
And what were those moments within that case as well, Colin, that suddenly started bringing it all towards Levi Belfield and you piecing those bits together?
Well, the first thing that happened really was that I had this wonderfully talented team that were really, really good. And you know, if I was good at anything, it was getting the best out of them. Yeah. And that was crucial to it. They spotted this little van on the CCTV and said, it's right there at the time she's being murdered. And so, you know, we need to find out who that is. And then fortunately, one of Belfield's ex-partners had come forward and said, I think you need to look at him. It could be him. But she was one in 129 women that had come forward to say this is it could have been my husband, ex-husband, partner, ex-partner. And it's only really when you get more than one person saying the same name or you've got other corroborating evidence. But then when we found out that he had this little white van that matched the one that had been seen in the CCTV, then we start to look at him. And you kind of realise, yeah, this is a really good suspect. This is worth putting all the resources into. But it's a risk, you know. And there were times when I thought, if we're wrong and this all goes horrible, then I don't know what I'll end up doing, because we'll have wasted a lot of time and a lot of effort. But you have to take those risks sometimes, I guess, if you're going to succeed.
And it's not just the risks either. I mean, some of these cases and some of these murders are really dark. They're really grisly. They're a horrific thing, and you've done over 30 of them. How do you balance that emotionally as well, and just being a human being?
I think I learned very early on in my police career that there was a work life and there was a home life, and I was always able to keep that separation.
It's hard to do.
Not everybody does that.
No, it's hard.
And fortunately, these days, the support mechanisms that are in place for today's police officers, if they feel at all, that mentally ill or unwell, are much better than we had back in the 80s when I started.
Yeah.
But it's about being professional. People say, how can you be in the same room as somebody like Belfield or Grant and knowing what they've done? And I think the answer to that was, you're just acting professionally. You just know that there's a job to be done there. And the only time in 30 years I felt really, really close to losing it was in the Night Stalker case, when I've got a 94-year-old woman grabbing me by the hand and pulling me down to her and whispering in my ear, he interfered with me. Oh. And at that moment, had he been standing next to me, I don't think I'd have been able to control what I did, because that was... But that's the only one. That's the only time, really, that I felt that I was close to not being professional.
Colin, we're gripped.
I mean, I could sit here and listen to you all day.
Absolutely gripped, and we've only had a few minutes with you, so the tour will be absolutely wonderful. The makings of a Murderer 2, The Real Manhunter. The tour kicks off on Suffolk on Saturday, and you're going
September
all over
7th.
the country, aren't you?
Yeah, and the Isle of Man and Ireland and Scotland, everywhere.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Morning. Now, last year, 13-year-old Hannah Jacobs tragically died after having a severe allergic reaction to just one sip of a Costa hot chocolate, which, unbeknown to her, contained cow's milk. Incredibly sadly, Hannah's death was entirely preventable. And despite an inquiry finding that Costa were at fault, Hannah's mum, Abby Dooley, says that she has yet to receive an apology.
Abby joins us now alongside her lawyer, Michelle, in the hopes of ensuring that no other parent will ever have to lose their child under similar circumstances. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Can you tell us, first of all, tell us a little bit about Hannah?
Hannah was a fun child. Yeah. She was full of life. She loved life. She liked to go out. She liked to do a little bit of TikTok. She liked to be on her phone a lot as well. She also listened to quite a lot of music. Yeah. And she loved hanging around with her friends and family a lot. So she was very family-oriented, and she loved our friends a lot.
So can you tell us a little bit about the allergies that she had?
When she was little, I mean, she was on breast milk for about 2 years. Then we tried to wean her off breast. So we started with Cellulac, but she was throwing up. We didn't think anything of it because I don't have no allergy in my family.
Right.
And the father does not have any allergy in his family. So we didn't think anything of it. I think it was when she was about 2.5 years old, we gave her macro fish that she had a swollen lip between the second. That's when I went, something is off here. That's when I went to go get an allergy testing done for her.
Yeah.
And that's when we found out she had quite a lot of allergies.
So what was she allergic to?
She was allergic to fish, dairy milk, some nuts, not all nuts, and dust as well.
She was allergic to dust?
Yes, you'll be surprised. When she comes to your house and you've got a carpet on, she'll end up with swollen eyes and her skin would just go all funny. And she didn't like that at all because she liked to look after herself.
Yeah.
So.
And she's a 2-year-old. She wants to run around and have a lovely time.
I'm telling you, but yeah.
So I'd imagine that once your 2-year-old has a list of allergies like that, you have to be incredibly diligent to make sure, because there's all sorts of things they're going to come into contact with. And when they're a toddler, they don't know.
Nope.
As a mum and everyone around them, the family have to be really, really diligent.
Everybody.
So you spent your life really making sure that anything she came in contact with was fine.
Everybody knows about allergy. When she goes to family friend's house, EpiPen, Cetirizine, always follows her everywhere. So it was more of when you go to anywhere at all, everybody knows what she's not allowed to have. Even she would, at the age of 3.5 years old, she knew what she was not allowed to have.
So what happened on that day when you went to the dentist? You were going to a dentist appointment?
She had a dentist appointment to get her teeth taken out because she was having braces done, which she's always wanted to get. She said, I just want braces. I don't want to wear my mouth guard anymore because it was really annoying her. So we went to, and I said to her, do you fancy custard? She said, oh, yes, please. It's something she gets excited about. Because she was still there like 2 weeks before she passed. She was still in the actual Costa coffee shop, ordering herself a drink by herself.
Right.
So it's a place that she'd been to before.
Several times.
The order that she would go for would be a soya hot chocolate. The soya being the absolutely key thing, because you all know, and she was very diligent, that she was allergic to dairy.
Even she used to ask me, why am I so fussy because the first time I took her there, I said to them, please clean the jug and the steamer, just open it up a little bit. So that was the main thing. She was like, why do you always do that? I said, because people play with people's lives. So I'm not about to let people play with your life. So on this particular day, we just went in there to order for 2 soya hot chocolate, 2 soya hot chocolate. And I think I said to the lady, just clean the jugs for me, open up the steamer up a little bit. And, you know, I think she was still giving me a funny look. I even had to apologise for even be so demanding.
Because you were making a fuss, but
I
you
was
felt
definitely
awkward,
making a
but
fuss.
you needed to make sure that...
Yes, I said, I'm so sorry for being a fussy because my child has got severe allergy to dairy milk.
Did you get the sense that the person you were talking to understood?
I can't even say whether she understood or she didn't understand me. I can't even say that at this point. At that point, I assume maybe if she would repeat the order back to me, we wouldn't be in this situation today.
So you took the drinks and you actually left the Costa. You didn't drink them there, and you went to the dentist, didn't you? So then what happened?
That's when she had a sip of the drink, went to the toilet and called me from the toilet and said, that is not soya milk. Because she's got a quick reaction to everything. So that's when she called me and I was like, oh my God, I said, I can't believe this is happening. So I don't even know what to say because that's our major...
fear.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. And for her to react so quickly as well.
It was so quick. It was just a sip. It was so quick. So we ran out of the dentist. We ran out and we ran into the pharmacist.
So you went to your pharmacy, the pharmacy that usually provides you with the EpiPen.
And the Cetirizine.
For your daughter, for Hannah.
Yeah.
And what happened there?
I think I rushed to the... Sorry, excuse me. Give me a minute. We rushed to the till, and I said, I need a Cetirizine right now because my daughter's having a allergy reaction. I think the lady was giving me, I said, I don't mind paying for it, but right now, I'll pay for it later. I just need to give it to her. So I opened up I think someone came behind me to give me an opened one, and I gave her like 2 tops of that, and she was still screaming in pain. I think at this point, someone said to me, should we call an ambulance? I said, just give her a minute. Because half of the time, that's what we've done at home. She said she's never had a severe one before, ever. So it's just, if she feels like she's having something in her that's not right with her body, she'll just take a Cetirizine and she will calm down.
And that's the antihistamine, isn't it?
Yes, and she will just calm down. At this point, it was just, I'm like, what's going on here? I think that's when I screamed for EpiPen. And that was it. Before I know it, it was like a movie.
But they didn't have the correct amount to give her, did they?
No, they did not.
So they had 150 grams.
And she's supposed to be under 500.
And there was no other EpiPen there?
No.
And so then what happened next?
There was a stranger, I don't even know her from anywhere, God bless her, that literally called the ambulance and was giving her CPR until the ambulance came. I think as soon as they put the defibrillator on, I knew straight away, because I've had training. I work in a care home, so I've had all this training. So when that did not work at that point, I said, this is not happening. I literally started screaming at that point. I just lost it. I just lost it. It's like your whole life came crashing down in 5 minutes. 5 minutes of a sip.
Fast.
It was very quick.
Gosh, Abby, it's so painful to hear you recount the story, because there are so many moments along the way that I'm sure you have played over and over in your head.
Over and over and over and over again in my head till today. I go to bed at night time when I look at pictures, and I literally ask myself, maybe I could have done something.
So you've just told us now how quickly it happened. Shall we speak to Dr. Ngat and find out what we should be doing in this situation? We'll give you a minute.
Yeah, it's such a tragic story, and Abby is so brave of highlighting this. And the thing with allergic reactions is that they can be mild all the way up to severe, where you can get an anaphylactic shock. So it's really important, firstly, to recognise those signs early on, and you're not being a fussy parent. And unfortunately, with allergies, they can either sometimes be dismissed, they can be unrecognised, and then also they can be downplayed as well, because the symptoms very early on don't present as severe. They can be just a rash, a few hives that can appear on the skin, itchy skin as well. You can get a bit of lip swelling, but that's about it. Then you can get worsening of your tongue or your airway closing off as well. You can also get running eyes or swollen eyes, and the symptoms of having an allergic reaction can be all over. With an anaphylactic shock, it's the severity of those symptoms where actually it infiltrates your lungs and your breathing airways as well. So the swelling means that you're not able to breathe appropriately, and that's where an EpiPen is so important. Now, what is EpiPen? It's a shot of adrenaline. What it does is it calms the immune system down and brings down the swelling instantly until you can get to an ambulance or a place of care where they can give you further treatments, because even having one shot of an EpiPen can mean that that's not enough and you need further treatment. That's why getting to a hospital is really important.
And I know that you've recorded, if you go to this This Morning app, you can see Dr. Ngat showing you how you can administer an EpiPen, because that's another really important part of this story. And I think, Abby, from your perspective, making sure this is one of the things that you're really keen to do, is that people understand the importance of EpiPens, the delivery of EpiPens, and how that can change and save people's lives.
Yes.
This is what Costa have said: the loss of Hannah is a tragedy. Our heartfelt thoughts remain with her friends and family. We have strict allergy training procedures in place to help minimise the risk to those customers who suffer from allergens. However, we agree with the coroner's conclusion that our allergen process was not followed that day at our franchise partner store. We continue to review what more we can do when training team members to help to minimise the risk to those customers who have allergies and provide clear communication. Costa Coffee has partnered with the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation since 2021. That's Natasha Adnan Laperouse, who also had an allergic reaction to a sandwich that she bought at a store. One of the ingredients wasn't listed, and is hugely supportive of the work of the foundation. Michelle, I wonder, one of the things that the two of you were talking about is a simple sticker identifying scheme that could make things simpler for the people working in some of these shops, and for parents or for children or for anybody that has one of these allergies.
So Abby and her family are calling for robust training within food service industry. And the most important thing for her is that this issue is taken seriously. We can see that in the unfortunate death of Hannah, that when it's not taken seriously, it can be fatal. What we know and what we heard at the inquest is that the allergy training was like a tick box exercise. Google Translate was used to train this, to assistants to train their staff. We also know that one manager did the allergy test 20 times before she passed it. And it's really important that there's effective training that is properly understood by employees and that is properly policed by employers.
So when you hear that right of reply from Costa, do you feel like they are going to put into place those things that you're talking about? that you need, you feel that you need?
We very much welcome the steps that they've said that they're going to take. We do hope, in fact, that that actually happens in practice. What Abby is calling for is an additional safeguard that actually, when you place your order, that your order is stuck on the actual coffee cup itself. So what you can do is, as a final check, is that you can check that the drink that you've actually ordered, you've actually received. And had that happened in this instance, Hannah may well be here today.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and for raising awareness. I think it's, you know, it's so important that people take this seriously and that we move forward from this too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, all right.
Good.
I was about to have a moment, but I'm right.
You're amazing. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Well, Demi joins us now to talk more about her condition. She's also alongside gynaecologist Dr. Neetu. Good morning to you both. I mean, it's so brilliant that you were on the show and you were so vocal, so honest. Was that kind of your mission to begin with, or was it a happy accident that happened along the way?
I think a bit of both. I feel like I went into the experiment to, like, give myself to someone, and in that moment it was like, I need to share this part of who I am, but it's something I'm very uncomfortable with. So obviously I knew I had to, like, disclose it, and it was a lot for me to do, but the relief was so liberating afterwards to kind of get it out there, and I was received so beautifully, and it honestly has helped me massively, so I'm very happy about that.
It's really emotional watching you talk about it, because clearly it's not a subject that you have, until now, until you went on the show, felt comfortable talking about. You couldn't even say the word.
No, I couldn't. Like, honestly, to say the word endometriosis, which I can say now, I would just get really tearful and really upset about it, because it was something that really did take a hold of, you know, how I was in relationships, and it was something that I was worried about kind of disclosing and
so can you explain how when it started and how it affected?
Oh, yeah. So when I first had my periods, I didn't know what a normal period was, right? I was quite heavy and stuff, and I just thought that was kind of normal. And then as you get older, you start to get into relationships. I always played football, and I started to notice that it was a lot more painful than what my friends were saying. I used to get, like, really numb legs and really severe back pain. But obviously that was kind of associated with playing football. Like, I was in injury.
Yeah.
So I was just going back and forth, like, what is this? Until it started to actually affect my relationships.
But also, and it's going to be quite graphic, and one of the things that really struck me, Demi, you played in this football team and you had white kit.
Oh, yeah.
And you used to have to sort of take precautions in case the heavy period sort of came through.
I'm talking, like, 5 pairs of knickers just because I was just worried. Like, can you imagine being a 15-year-old and leaking in a white kit? Like,
terrifying, but also to think that was normal.
Yeah.
That was sort of, you know, that's
what
the
you had to do.
frustration, because you kind of go, and you hadn't been able to share what you were going through, to understand that there was a condition that you were experiencing.
Yeah, and this is no fault of anyone around me, because I just wasn't open about it. You know, I wasn't telling my mum I was doing that. I wasn't opening up to people. I just thought that was kind of like the norm that you do. You kind of mask it.
And when did you first realise that it wasn't, and how did you go about getting help or advice?
To be honest with you, I think it was when I got into a more serious relationships, and you know, you're more sexually active and so on, and the impact of that and how it made me feel afterwards and stuff. I was like, this can't be normal. So obviously I sought medical advice, a lot of back and forth, like misdiagnosis. Like, I got told I had IBS, which is a common thing, I believe. Very common, yeah. So I was put on laxatives, and I was thinking, like, why is it still so bad? Like, what is going on? To the point where I don't think I really got taken serious until I hit 25, because that's when you have your cervical, your smear test and so on. So, yeah, they detected it when I hit 26. That's when I had the keyhole surgery.
And the diagnosis then was quite severe endometriosis. Had it been found earlier, when you first started asking, it would have been a very different thing.
Yeah, and that's what obviously I was a bit upset about, because it's like I've been coming out for the last 7 years to try and figure out what's going on, to the point now I'm being told it's like moderate or like stage 3 and whatever.
Can I just...
yes, please.
Yeah. So generally, in my 40 years of experience with endometriosis, women don't tend to have minimal or mild endometriosis, then progresses to moderate or severe. It tends to be 2 separate categories.
Right.
So what is painful to hear, and not just Demi's story, millions of women, is that they're actually having these symptoms that can be helped, not necessarily whether it's mild or minimal endometriosis, which can still cause a lot of painful periods, heavy periods, or moderate or severe, which can affect it's a whole body condition. So I wouldn't worry so much about it not having been diagnosed for the sake of preventing it from progressing.
Right.
What is more important is all those years of suffering.
Right.
Because I was
unnecessary.
For sure, because there's the physicality
and
of
the
what is
emotional,
happening.
and the social aspects, all the aspects.
And mentally as well, to know that there's something wrong with you.
And you were told it's normal.
But you don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it's like, am I exaggerating? So I think the diagnosis for me helped validate my feelings and then made me feel like it was a relief, to be honest with you. Like, okay, I feel heard. There is something. What's the next steps, kind of thing. And I went away and tried to like find what worked for me. I think in that moment it would have been better if, you know, the options that were presented to me were presented with a little bit more information and a bit more direction, because like. I've heard that if you go on contraception and stuff like that, it could have helped after your surgery, but I opted out of that. So I feel like it could continue to progress. And I know what works for me now. Like, I know if I exercise or I cut out refined sugars, like, these things do help. But I am just a human being who wants to live life. And sometimes I do want to go out and have a drink with my friends. Sometimes I do want to eat that red meat.
It's part of life.
It is. So I'm just trying to find the blend.
Do you feel like you're finding that balance with endometriosis now?
I think the biggest step for me was actually just taking ownership of it. So now I'm there, it's like, yeah, I feel a bit more confident in my decisions now and I'm being more intentional. Like you see me on the show talk about how I want a family. Like that is one of the main things that I want. And if I want that, then there's certain things that I know I have to go away and work on. So I think that now I'm being intentional with how I'm gonna live my life, like my lifestyle. Yeah.
So, Tanisha, there are moments where obviously Demi wasn't diagnosed correctly, almost to the point of, as you just said, in your head you think you're making it up. You're going crazy. What do women need to do? Because there are going to be people who are watching right now at home that are going, oh, I've got something that's a bit like that, or I feel a bit like that. What do women need to do?
So it's not just women, it's also society, schools, public policy, health professionals. Everybody needs to take ownership. It's not just women. What's important for women who are listening and people who are close to women are listening is that periods should not be painful. Any periods that affects the quality of your life, whether it is going to school, whether it's going to work, whether you're ending up spending a day or days in bed. So painful periods not to be put up with. That may be because of fibroids, adenomyosis, which is another close cousin of endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, endometriosis. All these are conditions that affect women. So painful periods, heavy periods, any period that lasts for more than 7 days, any period that you end up having to use double protection, where you're passing clots larger than the size of your thumbnail, those things are not normal. We should not normalize periods as in this. It's fine, my mother had it, my grandmother had it, so I have to suck it up? No. Painful periods, heavy periods, painful intercourse, not to be accepted. You know, body backache that she was mentioning, it's often as doctors, we don't join the dots. And so we do have to realize that endometriosis is a whole body condition. It's a chronic condition that causes endometriosis belly, it causes bloating, it causes chronic fatigue, it causes bladder symptoms, bowel symptoms that people think is irritable bowel syndrome when actually it's not. So it's really important that not just women, but all of us raise awareness, because even as doctors, we don't always listen to our patients.
Well, as Dr. Sarah said, we only have 10 minutes. It's finding that balance.
And so we have to take ownership a little bit, but also the rest of the
We have got some questions we want to go through. I just want to, quickly, before we get to these, if you do get a diagnosis, are there things that can be done? What sort of treatments can you get which will alleviate the symptoms and help?
So it really depends, it's very individualized, and it depends upon your clinical symptoms, but it could be treatment for your periods, so it could be painful periods if you're having, so it may be certain medications that you take just during your periods, it might be certain forms of hormonal medication that you need to help you if you're not trying to get pregnant, so you would take that all through the month, pelvic floor physiotherapy, things like acupuncture, and then surgery by specialists. For example, I would operate on some people who need surgery, but sadly, the way to diagnose endometriosis thus far has been only with a keyhole surgery. And so you should have it only with a specialist who knows how to manage endometriosis. And so that is somewhere we don't have enough of those doctors. And that's important.
But there are options.
But there's a blood test coming up, hopefully not too far off in the distance, where we can actually pick up endometriosis through a blood test. Still not there yet.
OK, well, we've got lots of questions from our viewers, and I know wonderfully you've said you'll stay and...
I will stay and answer.
She's going to go down to the office and...
Yes.
She's truly wonderful. So this one is from Emily. She says, I'm worried about my fertility. I was recently diagnosed with endometriosis at the age of 25. I'm awaiting a laparoscopy,
which is the keyhole procedure.
But I am concerned about potential implications it could have on fertility later down the line, as I really want children one day. What's your advice?
Yes. She has a very valid concern because women with endometriosis may find it slightly harder to conceive. But I also, in the same breath, want to say most women will go on to conceive either naturally or with some help of fertility treatment. Okay. So I don't want anybody listening to this thinking there's no hope at all. And that can come in many different forms. And that's a discussion to be had sooner rather than later for anybody who thinks, I want to have children. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, maybe in 5 years. Whatever it is, there is hope. Yes, fertility can be affected, but there is plenty that we can do, as soon as we find out.
And that's where you are, Demi, isn't it? You want to be able to have a family at some point as well, so you need to sort of navigate that.
Yeah, so that I've honestly felt that question come through. I was like, that's the question I would answer. So,
OK, good. This is from Charlotte. What should I expect from a hysterectomy? I'm 28. I've struggled with endometriosis for years. I've exhausted all treatment options. I'm having my hysterectomy on Thursday. My specialist said that it's likely that my bowel and uterus are stuck together and they may be limited on what endometrious cells can be removed. I can't help pinning all my hopes on this operation. What should I expect from the surgery?
So anybody who's having those questions can go onto my website, which is easy to find. It's all free.
What's your website?
neetubajekal.com, just my name with a .com.
You'll get it through the app.
Yes. But what is important to understand, she is very young. It's not often at 28 that we do a hysterectomy. Removal of the uterus is not really the culprit of endometriosis. Okay. So I would have questions, and it's difficult to have this discussion here, but it could be adenomyosis, which affects the womb itself. Has she completed her family? Has she frozen her eggs? Has she frozen embryos? All these questions have to be asked and made sure that it's because it is an irreversible procedure. So, and yes, most women will sail through it, but there can be complications, especially when you have a condition like endometriosis, if the bowel is stuck, if the bladder is stuck. So a whole team is needed to operate in this situation. It takes a good 2 months at least to recover. So work has to be very empathetic as well. It's important that we don't just rush back to work when our body is not ready.
Do your preparation.
I have all that information on my website.
Great.
OK, good luck with that, Charlotte.
This one is from Kerry. She says, about 2 days before my period, I get really bad pain in my right shoulder. The pain stays during my period and then it stops hurting about a day after I finish my period. I've been to the doctors twice about it, but they just shrugged it off as a pulled muscle. However, this happens during every period, so I feel like they must be connected.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes. And so endometriosis, we haven't defined what endometriosis is. Endometriosis is where cells, abnormal cells, that are very similar to the lining of the womb that we shed every month as a period, it decides to stick itself, usually within the pelvis, on the lining of the pelvis, in your ovaries, in the back of the uterus, on the bladder, on the bowel. But sometimes, and that's why we don't know exactly what causes it, sometimes it can go in your nose, in your lungs, in your diaphragm, in your brain. And so distant endometriosis is a known factor that should be taken very seriously.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's known as, yes, it's really important that that is paid attention to because, somebody who's giving you a history like that should not be ignored at all. It may not turn out to be that, but it is...
Needs checking.
Absolutely.
Get that checked, Kerry. Then Penny, are my spotting along periods down to endo or perimenopause? I've had problems with my period since a very early age. Got diagnosed with endometriosis in the last couple of years. I'm 41 years old. My periods in the past 5 months have either been longer than usual or I've been spotting in between. I feel really confused because I want another baby, but I don't want sex. So I'm just wondering if this is down to endometriosis or something else, maybe perimenopause.
I would not immediately jump to perimenopause if I was a betting doctor, which I'm not. I would say I would be concerned that she may have adenomyosis, which is the cousin of endometriosis, pushing itself into the lining of the muscle wall.
Yeah.
That can cause spotting. Is she up to date with her smear test? Because that's really important. Is there bleeding after intercourse? Is it endometriosis? Are there fibroids? There's so many things. She needs a good review by a specialist. Ask her GP to refer to the NHS hospital, and from there onwards, maybe even to somebody who specialises in this thing. So not to be ignored. Any spotting, any bleeding, not to be ignored, whatever your age.
OK.
Try and get that referral. So, Demi, just coming back to you, you didn't find love necessarily on Love is Blind. How is life anyway, though? Are you out there fishing again?
Trying. Just about to. Yeah, no, I'm going to get myself back out there.
Good.
But yeah, it's been good.
Well, look, thank you for coming in and
thank you
sharing
very
your
much.
story.
Thank
You know, like you say, just taking ownership
Brilliant.
of it.
Yeah.
You can see the change in
Thank
you
you.
already. You know, just sort of meeting you today. It's been brilliant to meet you.
Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
Thank you.
And Dr. Neetu, we didn't have enough time to get through everything
Not a
here,
problem.
but she's so wonderful. She's staying.
Amazing.
She's going to set up her office downstairs, give her a cup of coffee. She'll be here all afternoon.
No coffee, I'll be up all night.
OK, fine. No coffee, no coffee.
Whatever you like. She's going to be answering some of your phone calls a little bit later on, and we'll get through all of those. So fingers crossed we can.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Over the years, we've welcomed lots of incredible This Morning guests and lots of amazing stories have been told. But this summer, one moment in particular got everyone talking again.
Yeah, so cast your minds back to 2011. There was a guest on the show called Shani, and she appeared on the show to talk about a very unique phobia of fancy dress costumes. Now, this is the moment she came face to face with her demons. It's become viral, and it's the moment of the summer. Have a look at this.
We're going to hopefully sort this for you today. OK, so let's pull back the curtain. Oh, dear. OK.
OK.
Right, so...
We'll draw the curtains again
Let's
there on
pull
that.
Oh, wow, that clip has literally been everywhere this summer. But what happened to Shani, and did she overcome her fear, you ask?
Well, it's been 13 years since she was last here. Shani, you're back with us. Thank you so much for coming back.
No, you're more than welcome.
You know, we're just so interested to know what the reaction was like at the time, what it's like been since, and most importantly, how are you now with fancy dress costumes? So, shall we start at the very start? What made you come in the first place, and how bad was it?
So it was taking over everything that you wouldn't really imagine. So something as simple as walking down the high street, I would have that fear in me of, is there going to be someone in fancy dress around this corner? So it took everything in me when I was walking along, because you're on high alert, so you're never relaxed. So it took a lot of my energy.
And did this start when you were, like, very young? What sort of spooked you? What triggered it?
So it was a family holiday.
Yeah.
We went on a ghost train in a theme park, which I thought would be totally innocent. However, abroad, it was slightly different to what I was used to in the UK. So they actually had people in fancy dress who would touch you.
Yeah, so they had, like, actors placed, did they, popping out?
Which, at about 9 years old, I wasn't expecting.
Oh, God.
So my hair clip was taken out of my hair, placed into my mum's hair, which just spooked me, ran out screaming. They did come out to apologise, took off the mask, but by that point, it was over.
You were sort of traumatised at this stage, yeah.
And it's really important you tell us this bit, because the clip, and a lot of people find it kind of amusing because of the costumes, right?
Yes.
And your reaction. And it does evoke laughter from people, OK. But it was very real for you, wasn't it? I mean, it really was a real situation.
Yeah, for me, I look back on the clip and I think, oh, but I can still remember that fear. I can still remember how I felt. It's one of those, this happened to me, I want the ground to open up, I want to disappear, I don't want to be sat in this situation. So I can feel it still now. I can imagine exactly what I was feeling on that day.
Well, to you, this is as real as somebody might get the same feeling seeing a mask and a balaclava or a horror movie character. Yeah. It was that visceral at that point.
So it's the same with any fear, anybody's fear.
everybody's going to react in a way, and for me, that's how I react. I panicked, I cried, and I've been known to run across a road because I was that petrified and wanted to get away from someone in fancy dress.
Talk to us about your feelings now. They're the costumes. That was the moment.
Yeah.
You'd be glad to hear we don't have them here in person.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you look at that image now?
So now, looking at the image, it takes me back to that day. I can remember how I feel when I went into the studio, how I felt. When I first saw them, I can still feel it, and I know how I felt, but I know that if you were to bring them out, I wouldn't react in the same way today.
So it's almost like it feels like a different version of you. It's like a memory, you know, but you don't get that feeling anymore.
Yes, so I can remember it, but that's not how I would react.
Let's get to present day.
Yeah.
It's been watched a lot over the course of the summer.
Yes.
What's the reaction been like now, and how do you feel about it now?
So,
this year's on?
I mean, I've been sent the clip many times.
You must have done. You must be sick of it. Absolutely sick of it.
And I every time someone sends it to me, I still watch it, and I think it just reminds me of what it was like. So I still watch it. I don't read anything. I just watch it, and I think, wow.
Do you feel upset when you watch it? Do you feel embarrassed? Seems unfair, but because people are kind of making fun when they watch it, right?
Yeah, I think embarrassed, but as you say, that's not quite the right word. I sort of look at it and I think, I'm not that person anymore. That's not me. I don't act like that. That's a long time ago. A lot has happened. So for me, I enjoy watching it to take me back, but I'm glad that I'm not there now.
Yeah, and remember, like, for all the... I mean, you say you don't really look at comments, but for all those that won't understand it, there'll be others, you know, with weird phobias themselves. Cotton wool is a big one, isn't it, that people are scared of, that for most of us just seems absolutely almost ridiculous. But until you're in it, you don't know how it feels, do you?
Yeah, exactly that. So everybody's going to have a fear. Most people do. It's how people react to it. Some people have a smaller reaction, some people have a bigger reaction. So I think people being able to see that, thinking, do you know what, something can be done. And that was, for me, I needed something done, which is why I came to you guys to have something done about it.
Yeah, well, fair play to you. That was very brave, I think.
How much work did it take to get over the fear?
So, working with Nick and Eva, amazing. They used what they used, and it didn't take long. And at first I was hesitant when I left. I thought, is this really going to be it for me? But from that moment on, no reaction whatsoever. So now I can come face to face with people in fancy dress. I don't have to worry if I want to go and see a show about whether there's going to be the costumes. I can take my children to see the characters that are dressed up, so they don't miss out on seeing their favourite characters.
Yeah, didn't you manage to go somewhere recently?
Yes, so I took my children to see Hey Dougie.
Hey Dougie, that was it.
Yeah, he is a huge fan. And I wouldn't have been able to do that before. And my children would have missed out because of my fear, which is not something I want for them.
So not scared of pantomimes anymore?
Not anymore, so
Good on you.
roll on Christmas and I can go to the pantomime.
Oh, good on you.
Where's the fear? It's behind you. Well done.
I knew he couldn't resist. He's been waiting for that one.
Thank you so much for coming
Thank you
in.
for having me. Yeah, thanks.
Because it took a lot of bravery to come back in as well this time, so we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.